presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Oh, so good to finally be back home after 7 wins in 10 games on the road. The D-backs ready for some well-earned home cooking at Chase Field. A 9-game homestand opened up with 3 against the Phillies, the same team the Diamondbacks swept in 4 to begin the last road trip. We're set for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Good to be back home. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. The first of 3 against the Phillies. And Bob, if this homestand is anything like the last road trip, I guess we should expect more great things from Jean Segura.
Well, I think you mentioned early in the season, he's the energy of the team. You can just tell by the way he plays the game. Went through a little bit of a slow streak, but lately he has been unbelievably hot. Had 13 hits, 9 walks, and scored 12 runs on that last 10-game road trip.
Segura once again in the starting lineup for the Diamondbacks. For the Phillies, a couple of local guys from the Valley, both in the starting lineup, batting second and third.
Yeah, Tommy Joseph from Horizon High School. A lot of fans in the Valley know about Tommy Joseph. Get an opportunity to see him up close and personal. His first game here at Chase Field. And Peter Borges, student at Notre Dame Prep in his high school days. He's been with a couple of different teams in the big leagues. He has played in this ballpark before, but has to be a big thrill for both these guys to play at home.
Well, check your radar guns tonight. Couple of hard throwers for the starting pitching matchup. Robbie Ray from the left side for the Diamondbacks, and Vince Velasquez, the right-hander for the Phillies. It's the first of 3. The D-backs and the Philadelphia Phils. First pitch coming up from Chase Field. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Arizona is brought to you by Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. And by Gigablast, 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow. Back home in the Valley, set for baseball here at Chase Field. The left-hander Robbie Ray against the right-hander Vince Velasquez. Both guys with mid-90s fastballs. Get your radar guns ready. It's the D-backs and the Phillies. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Nice and cool inside the air-conditioned comfort of Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. Welcome aboard, Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, J.R. Cardenas along the way. Robbie Ray set to take them out against Pete McCannon's Philadelphia Phillies, who are beginning the final leg of a 9-game road trip, and so far they've gone 2-4 through Minnesota and San Francisco.
And here's how Pete McCannon will line them up tonight. Odubel Herrera leading it off out in center field. Peter Borges, the local resident, out in right field. Tommy Joseph at first base. Miguel Franco at third base. Cameron Rupp doing the catching. Freddie Galvis at shortstop. Tyler Goodell in left field. Cesar Hernandez at second base. And Vince Velasquez on the mound.
And your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Robbie Ray, 24-year-old left-hander. 4 wins in 15 starts. A loss his last time out at Toronto, but prior to that, a win over these Phillies in Philly.
Robbie's been throwing the ball much better lately, more efficient with his pitches, avoiding those lengthy at-bats with all the foul balls. Fastball has been electric.
Our Eye on Defense for the Diamondbacks is sponsored by Nationwide Vision Center.
Michael Bourne out in center field. He'll be flanked by Ricky Weeks Jr. in left and Yasmani Tomas in right field. It'll be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Gene Segura and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Wellington Castillo once again behind the plate. And Robbie Ray, the lefty, on the mound.
Roof and panels are closed here tonight. Hot outside. Lance Barrett is our plate umpire tonight. He'll have the balls and strikes. Pat Hoberg at first base. The crew chief, Dale Scott, at second. And Balkin Bob Davidson at third. Make sure you take the foot off the rubber before you throw over.
Absolutely. And make sure you make a step over there.
After we had 7 balks called around the major leagues in one day over the weekend, apparently that's back on everybody's radar, so be careful. Bob Davidson known for calling balks when he's on the bases, and he's got third tonight. So Odubel Herrera leads it off for the Phillies, and we are set to go. First of 3 at Chase Field. Herrera batting .298. He's got 8 homers and homered yesterday in San Francisco against Johnny Cueto.
There's that awkward setup by Odubel Herrera with that right foot right on the instep.
There's a strike, 0-1.
This has got to be one of the more uncomfortable batting stances I've ever seen. It just hurts to look at. He's on the inside of his right foot.
Yeah, I couldn't even stand like that, let alone hit. This is bounced over the mound and into center, and Herrera's aboard.
This Phillies team has a pretty good team speed up and down the lineup, including the guy making his way to the plate right now, Peter Borges. But Odubel Herrera leads the team with 11 stolen bases in 16 attempts.
Peter Borges, .250, couple of home runs on a Notre Dame prep in Scottsdale. He was hitting under .220 when the Diamondbacks left Philadelphia. That was only about a week ago. In fact, it was 1 week ago tonight. So since then, he's put together a 6-game hitting streak. Fouls off the bunt. Peters had 11 hits in his last 6 games, including 3 yesterday in their loss at AT&T Park against the Giants.
Yeah, Peters been in 11 for his last 22 with a homer, a triple. He's driven in 4. And this is not Peters' first trip back to the Valley. He's 1 for 9 in this ballpark. The 1 hit, a home run.
4 seasons with the Angels, the last 2 in St. Louis, where he was waived by the Cardinals following last year. Phillies picked him up in December. 11 for 22 during a 6-game streak. The 0-1 from Robbie Ray. Herrera holds it first, and that pitch just misses. It's a ball and a strike. Looks like Robbie has been to Shelby Miller's barber.
He must be following the team.
That might not be a good thing. That hat is pulled down tight on old Shelby.
See Herrera trying to peek into Wellington Castillo, see if he can garner some information about an off-speed pitch or a location on the pitch.
Or just shoots it into left, a base hit. 2 singles open up the game for Philadelphia, and here comes Tommy Joseph. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Borges from Notre Dame prep in Scottsdale, and here's Horizon High School's Tommy Joseph. 244 and 8 home runs.
He's got quite a cheering section here today, high above the first base dugout. Probably 100 people or more here that clapped their hands when Tommy Joseph's name was announced.
He's having a very productive trip for Philadelphia. 2 on, nobody out to open up the ball game. Tommy Joseph has hit in 4 of the 5 games he's played on this Phillies trip. Had a home run at Target Field at Minnesota last week. His 8th of the year.
He's one of a number of guys on this Phillies roster that is a WW. He won't walk. He's got 3 base on balls all season.
Well, it's the home run swing that got everybody's attention. He made his major league debut in the middle of May and then hit 7 home runs in his first 21 games. He was the first Philly in more than 100 years to do that. So there was a lot of excitement about Tommy Joseph when he was first called up. But Robbie Ray here ahead 0-2. This is away. Oh, strike 3. Lance Barrett. Anytime you're ready, Lance, just tell us what it is. Strike strikeout number 1 for Robbie Ray.
Yeah, missed his location badly all the way across the plate. The pitch was in the strike zone. Good call that time by Lance Barrett once he got around to it. Boy, with Odubel Herrera batting and Lance Barrett behind the plate, we may never know what the count is.
We do have our Odubel Herrera clock ready in case he likes to draw out as it bats. We'll see that in this series, I'm sure. So 2 on and 1 out. Maikel Franco. Franco leads the Phillies, 12 homers and 37 RBIs, batting .240 on the year. He's hit safely in 3 straight games. He's got Herrera at second and Borges at first. Good speed on the bases. Fastball at 95 misses, and it's 1-0.
Out there grunting with every pitch once again, right there at the bottom of the zone at 95. That's a good pitch.
That's where you want to live. You know, Robbie Ray at Philly, Bob, 2 starts ago. Remember, he was firing away with hard fastballs, and it looked like he was max effort with almost every pitch, and you got the sense that he was supremely confident in going after the Phillies hitters with hard stuff in that ball game. He was on the attack from the first inning on. All fastballs, almost no nibbling. So we'll see if he goes after these guys that same way here today.
It was a little reminiscent of when Ruby De La Rosa went to the bullpen. And they said, just go till you blow. Throw it as hard as you can towards the strike zone and see what happens. And that's the same philosophy Robbie Ray adopted in Philadelphia.
And it worked very well 2 starts ago. This was 2 starts ago at Citizens Bank. 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 hits, only 1 walk. He struck out 7. Needed 108 pitches to get through 6. Ideally, he tightens that up a bit tonight. Ahead of Maikel Franco, 1-2. Just did get a piece at 96 miles an hour. It's fastball after fastball so far.
As you mentioned, Bert, we swept the Phillies a 4-game series on that last road trip. The Phillies were 0-6 on that homestand. They hit 163 as a team with 2 home runs. They scored 9 runs in 6 games.
Well, they've only run twice on this trip, but Pete Maccannon's club does seem to be hitting the ball a little better.
Oh, yeah, they're hitting the ball a lot better. 310 as a team, 10 homers, and they've scored 36 runs in 6 games.
Now, they weren't going to stay that bad for that long. No. He's got some talented young players on this team.
He's been up and down the lineup. We mentioned Peter Borges hitting 500 over his last 6 with a homer. Franco's hitting 300 with a homer. Tommy Joseph hitting 316 with a homer. Cameron Rupp 5 for 15 with 3 homers. Right down the line, everybody's starting to pick it up offensively for the Phillies.
Yeah, they've got some very talented position prospects coming up in their minor league system, guys that are very close. 2-2. There go the runners. Double steal in place, and Franco fouls it back. Everybody off with a pitch that time. It stays 2-2.
That's a tough play for Jake Lamb down there at third base. You've got a dead pull right-handed hitter at the plate against a left-handed pitcher. It's pretty likely he's going to hit the ball to the left side of the infield, and Jake Lamb trying to time his approach to third base and yet hold his position defensively.
Long time for Robbie to run through some signs with Wellington Castillo. Franco reaches out, hits a tapper, it rolls toward first. Tough play for Robbie Ray. Nicely done. And the runners move up, 2 down.
Very nice athletic play by Robbie Ray, bouncing off that mound. We know he has a tendency to fall off to the third base side, and this little tapper to the right side looked like trouble. Robbie got over there with a barehanded play on to Goldie for the out. He was trying to fall off to the third base side, but recovered in time to get the out.
So Herrera takes third. Borges in at second. 2 down for the big catcher Cameron Rupp. Rupp has been on a power surge lately. He's homered in 3 of his 4 games on this Phillies road trip. 270 now with 7 home runs. His manager Pete McCannon calls him Big Head. He's got a big head.
He's got a big body.
Yeah, he does.
He's another WW for the Phillies. Only 6 walks all season. You see what he's done on this road trip. He is red hot with the power bat.
Yeah, had a homer Saturday at San Francisco against Madison Bumgarner, and McCannon said, yeah, old Big Head, he got a hold of that one.
Big Head against Mad Bum.
Something had to give.
Yep.
The 0-1 is fouled back. Probably a strike away from getting out of this mess. Called strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Robbie Ray. He strands 2. He got Joseph looking. He got Rupp looking. Diamondbacks coming up against hard throwing right-hander Vince Velasquez. A forward starter for the Phillies, Vince Velasquez, right-hander, just turned 24 this month. He struck out 16 Padres in his second start this year back in April. He struck out 10 Marlins in 5 innings in a game last month. And today, oh, I'm sorry, Bob, he's making his return from the DL, had a little biceps problem.
That was my bad, partner. Yeah, when he's good, he is really good. You mentioned that 16 strikeout performance in his second start of the year. First time out against the Mets, he went 6 innings, a 3-hit shutout ball, struck out 9.
He can light up some radar guns. This is a very hard-throwing young man, and Gene Segura leads it off. Right at the knees for a strike, and it's 0-1.
He's got a 4-pitch mix. You'll see that spiked curveball with the index finger with the knuckle sticking up in the air. When he's got that going, he can be really tough.
And one minor league rehab start with Double-A Reading and declared himself set to go. So here he is. Segura 311 and 5 homers. His OPS is up more than 180 points over last season. And as we detailed in our open, he had a sensational road trip.
Since June 8th, he's raised his batting average 21 points, which is really tough to do when you get the number of plate appearances and at bats that Gene Segura's had up to this point of the season. Well, when you get 2 or 3 knocks every night, and lately been mixing in some base on balls, saving him some at bats, that average will climb.
He had been down to 290 earlier this month. 391 since June the 8th. Hard to do better than that. He had, let's see, 3 hits yesterday in Colorado. A career first 4 walks in one game Saturday. 3 more hits in Friday's win over the Rockies. He's been on base for most of June. 95 misses, 1 and 2.
Yeah, you saw that 391 average since June 8th. He's also had an on-base percentage of 486 since June 8th because of the walks and the hits.
So basically he's on base about half the time he's
about
up there.
Half the time. Take that any day.
It's a piece to stay alive. Now let's take a look. This is some impressive production.
Wow.
Because he went through a stretch, Bob, where you thought, okay, he was at 350. He wasn't going to do that all year. He got down to 290, and he got hit in the head in Pittsburgh, missed a little bit, missed a game or so. And you thought, okay, now he's going to level off, but he's right back up there.
And he's been playing some shortstop to go along with his usual second base position.
Well, that's really helped out with Nick Ahmed battling a sore hip. 2-2. Nick is back in there tonight. In fact, let's take a look now at the lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks.
Gene Segura at the plate right now at second base. Michael Bourne out in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Jake Lamb at third base. Ricky Weeks Jr. in left with Wellington Castillo catching. Yasmani Tomas in right. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. And Robbie Ray, the lefty, on the mound.
Well, Velasquez cranks that up to 94 and wins the battle 1 away. All right, on defense for Philadelphia, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Tyler Goodell out in left field. Odubel Herrera in center. Peter Borges over in right field. It'll be Franco and Galvis on the left side of the infield. Hernandez and Joseph on the right side with big Cameron Rupp, big head behind the plate, and Vince Velasquez on the mound.
Michael Bourne, 10 hits in 10 games on the road trip, back in there in center field tonight. Still no Chris Owings. They hope they'll have CO back by the end of this homestand. Right now, Chris's brother Connor is playing in the College World Series against U of A for Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. Arizona up right now, 3-0 bottom 9th. See the numbers for Bourne on the last road trip. It wasn't just the 10 hits. He had a bunch of key defensive plays, some clutch base hits, 2 hits in each of the last 3 games at Colorado, a home run there Saturday. That cleared that new fence out there in right center over the bullpens. Looks at strike 2.
See Chip Hale and his coaching staff over in that third base dugout just eyeballing the living daylights out of Vince Velasquez, trying to discover something in his delivery that may tip what pitch he's throwing or what location he's throwing to. Young pitchers occasionally will develop some bad habits.
Cesar Hernandez from the edge of the outfield grass. 2 down. Yeah, since Velasquez was on the DL when we were last in Philly with that biceps problem, we of course didn't get a look at him, but he's had some very impressive starts this year, as you detailed, baby.
Who was really good at that was Curt Schilling. Days he didn't start, Schill would sit up on the top step of the dugout over there and watch every move the opposing pitcher made out there on the mound, and at some point he would always have something.
Paul Goldschmidt, 301, 14 home runs. 2 of those homers came at Philadelphia last weekend. 95 is in there for strike 1. Goldie drove in 4 runs yesterday at Coors Field. There's another guy that put up ridiculous numbers on the trip. Well, the way these guys hit, Bob, and the starting pitching was pretty good. A couple of bullpen bumps in the road here or there. You might have had a 9-1 road trip or something. A lot of offense from the Diamondbacks. Behind Matt Williams' foul. Here's Goldie. He started 9 of the 10 games on the trip, hit safely in 8 of them. He finished with 16 hits, 7 walks, 7 runs scored, and 9 RBIs. And his on-base percentage during a grueling road trip was over .500. Down 1-2. Base hit for Goldie. What else is new? He goes the other way, a 2-out single.
Third base, number 22,
High velocity 92 out over the plate. Goldie stays right on it, just drives it through that right side of the infield past Cesar Hernandez.
Try to sneak a fastball by Goldie, 2 strikes like that.
No,
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Jake Lamb almost single-handedly destroyed the Phillies in the Diamondbacks 4-game sweep there last weekend. 285, 15 homers, 51 RBIs, having a big month at the plate. Jake, just in the 4 games at Citizens Bank Park, 9 for 17, 2 homers. He knocked in 5. Rupp sets up, down and away. Missed inside with it, 1-0.
This just in, Chris Bryant hit his 3rd home run of the ball game tonight.
Cubs are playing at Good American Ballpark in Cincinnati.
That explains it.
Chris Bryant 3 homers. Joey Votto hit a big home run off Jake Arrieta. Cubs 10-7. They have a lead in the 8th inning right now in Cincinnati. Dodgers won earlier. They won at Pittsburgh 5-4. Later tonight, Jeff Samardzija on the mound for the Giants. They're hosting Oakland. Rockies with Troy Tulowitzki back in town, trailing the Blue Jays 2-0 in the 6th at Coors. There goes Goldie, and Jake Lamb fouls it behind Dave McKay. And there is Dick Wrong Way Roberson, who makes a nice play.
I like it. We've got the left-handed fielder down the right field line. Dr. Ed's been working with the Golden Glovers.
Wrong way went the right way that time. Dick Roberson working our right field line, and a Kirk foul pole Farley. He's got left field tonight. 2-2 on Jake Lamb. Goldie takes off again, and Jake Lamb strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Vince Velasquez. We'll head to the 2nd, no score at Chase Field. Cinnamon wafting up from right below our broadcast booth. Nothing better in the ballpark than Wetzel's Pretzels. We have an update from Omaha, where U of A has won game 1 against the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers 3-0.
1 game away from a national championship. Last one for the U of A Wildcats was back in 2012. Of course, 1986 national championship team led by Chip Hale.
Yeah, Chip had a great year that year, 1986. That's the best 2 out of 3. Arizona, Coastal Carolina. Chip Hale, Arizona's all-time leader in games, hits, total bases, at bats, and walks. Freddie Galvis lifts one into center, and Michael Bourne makes a diving grab.
Well, you just mentioned it a moment ago on that road trip. Michael Bourne was right in the middle of everything, offensively and defensively. Another nice sliding diving catch coming in on a sinking line drive.
Well, he's just done so many things well. I mean, key clutch hits, a home run the other day, diving catches, bunting for base hits. He's just done a little bit of everything.
And when he's been flanked by Peter O'Brien and Yasmani Tomas, he's had to cover an awful lot of ground out there in the outfield, especially at Coors.
And, you know, with the Diamondbacks down to 1 center fielder, and he's it. I mean, his value is just higher than ever. Trying to get the dirt and grass out of that glove, though. Tyler Goodell, the left fielder. This is a guy who was the first overall pick in the Rule 5 draft in December. They got him from the Tampa Bay Rays roster. And BB, I heard you talking about that. You liked his swing.
I like his swing a lot. He's got a quick bat, and he's down and through. Gets a lot of carry on balls when he makes contact. The average wouldn't reflect that right now, but if you look at his swing, he projects to be a good hitter.
23 years old. He'll be 24 in October. He started 22 games for the Phillies last month and had a good month, hit almost 290. But the playing time in June has dried up a little bit because Cody Asche came back from the DL. Asche on the bench tonight against the left-hander, and Robbie Ray has his 3rd strikeout. He sent down 5 in a row.
It's going to be a little bit of a rough go for any Rule 5 pick. You know, you think back to Oscar Hernandez last year with the Diamondbacks, a guy that probably should have been playing in low A ball all season long, but he found himself here in the big leagues because he was the #1 pick in the Rule 5 draft by the Diamondbacks, and they had to carry him on the roster all year or risk losing him.
And Oscar's been with the Class A Visalia all season, playing for J.R. House in the Cal League. There's Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman. 253, couple of home runs. A ball and a strike. Bouncer to third for Jake Lamb. Sets those feet, throws him out. 6 in a row, retired by Robbie Ray. Diamondbacks coming up, no score, chase.
Half of the second inning. Time to take a look at our Valley Honda key to the game tonight. No surprises. I talk a lot about advanced scouts, watching a team that you're going to be playing in the future, but in this case the Diamondbacks just played the Phillies on that last road trip, a 4-game series. They should have a real good idea of the capabilities of this Phillies offense and the pitching staff.
Got a real good look last week. Ricky Weeks Jr. leads off the Diamondbacks second against Vince Velasquez. Ricky 258, 4 home runs. Ricky Weeks Jr. had 3 hits and a walk yesterday at Coors Field. 5 hits in 6 games on the road trip, and one of the defensive plays of the year off the bat of Nick Hundley against the left field wall at Coors the other night in that wild 4-hour 30-minute ball game. It's this up in the air, deep center field. Odubel Herrera at the track, and he's feeling for that wall. He's got just enough room.
Hey fans, the D-backs home run today, thought we had one right there. It means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-the-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Wellington Castillo back behind the plate tonight. Yesterday off against the Rockies, and Welly got to start Saturday, singled 3 times. He's hitting .271 with 8 home runs. Hernandez, the second baseman, will shift just a bit over to the shortstop side of the bag. Breaking ball misses for ball 1.
Playing the role of Paul Goldschmidt will be Tommy Joseph. He's about halfway between first and second.
Well, you can put those converted catchers anywhere.
That's right.
Should be playing shortstop, for crying out loud. High fly ball near the right field line for Peter Borges in foul ground, but he's got it.
Yeah, you mentioned Tommy Joseph, a former catcher. A lot of concussion issues, a lot of foul balls off the mask that have forced him to miss a lot of time behind the plate. The Phillies view him as too valuable a bat to put him back behind the plate, so now he's a first baseman only. They said they wouldn't use him behind the plate even in an emergency.
Drafted out of Horizon High School by the Giants, a 2nd-round pick in '09. Phillies got him as part of the Hunter Pence trade deadline deal 4 years ago. El Tanque Asmani Tomas had a powerful road trip, and he looks at strike 1. 3 doubles, 5 homers on the trip. Had a 2-homer game against these Phillies.
That 2-homer game against the Phillies, the second home run that Yasmani hit, I don't know if it's come down yet. It just disappeared into the Philly nighttime.
Onto that left field concourse. Yeah, we went out there the next day, kind of like on the grassy knoll, trying to figure out where it came from and where it went. Well, it must have rolled in here. Hey fans, follow Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, the whole thing. Just download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or your tablet. That thing might have rolled to Delaware for all we know. 0-2. Does Tomas, Bob, to you have more trouble with guys like Velasquez who throw hard mid to upper 90s than he might with, you know, breaking ball type guys?
High velocity pitchers seem to give him some trouble. That's when he tends to start his bat a little soon, anticipating pitches rather than just seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand and reacting to what he sees. He tries to anticipate that high velocity, and that's when he's really susceptible to off-speed pitches and chases a lot of fastballs out of the zone.
He's off that one at 97. Velasquez started off the ball game, you know, 92 or so, but it hasn't taken him long to get cranked up. 2-2 to Tomas with 2 down. This guy can put up some big strikeout numbers.
Not exactly a textbook block on that last fastball in the dirt. Cameron Rupp turns his head, closes his eyes, and swipes his glove out there, but he caught it cleanly.
Look out, right back at Velasquez. Hernandez spins and throws. What a play, but Joseph can't corral it. And Tomas is aboard. Cesar Hernandez, a terrific play at second for Philadelphia. The Phillies thought that maybe Tomas took a turn once the ball got behind Joseph, but the umpires say no. So he's aboard with an infield single. Does he go towards second base here? Let's see. Well, that was really close.
I don't think he had intentions of going to second base. No.
No, not even.
Nope. Kind of an unusual line to get to the bag that time, which caused him to cross first base and take himself into fair territory, but no indication that he was turning to head to second base.
Nick Ahmed still waiting to become a dad, a man to do any day now. 94 misses in, and it's 1-0. Nick at 219 with 4 home runs. Had a home run at Citizens Bank Park in Philly. 8 hits in 10 games on the trip. Vince Velasquez, this is a guy they like a lot. Second round pick by the Astros in the 2010 draft at a high school in Gary, California, the Pomona area. Phillies got him in the Ken Giles deal last December. They got 5 guys in that trade for Ken Giles. D-backs fans may remember Velasquez. He pitched for Salt River in the Fall League a couple of years ago. Made his big league debut with the Astros last year. 2 balls and 1 strike on Nick Ahmed. 94 missed in, 3-1. Cameron Rupp would like a word. Velasquez may be a little rusty. Coming off the DL after that biceps problem. His last big league outing was June 8th against the Cubs. He had to leave that ball game after throwing only 2 pitches. Wound up on the DL. The 3-1 to Ahmed.
You mentioned he had 1 rehab outing. Went 5 innings in that outing. Gave up only 2 base hits and 1 run. Declared himself ready to go, and here he is.
Yeah, he was 5-1 with a 2.42 ERA in the middle of May, and then began having problems. Suddenly started getting hit hard and failed to finish the 5th inning in 3 consecutive starts, and then he had that start against the Cubs in which he had to leave in the 1st inning. There goes Tomas. Ahmed, that's a fair ball, headed for the right field corner. Borges over to cut it off. Tomas in at 3rd. Back-to-back 2-out singles for the D-backs.
We talk about hitting behind a runner. This is a perfect example right here. Yasmani Tomas on the move, hit the ball behind him, making it very easy for him to advance 1st to 3rd since he was in motion there. Diamondbacks have him on the corner for one of the hottest hitters on the mound, Robbie Ray.
Yeah, and how about Nick Ahmed, Bob? 96-mile-an-hour fastball on the outer half. He just shoots it the other way for a clean single. Might have had 2 if Borges with that speed had not been able to cut it off. So 1st and 3rd, 2 down for Ricky Ray. Or Robbie Ray, pardon me. 7 for 25 on the year. Lance Barrett says strike 1.
Robbie Ray in the midst of a 3-game hitting streak. He's 5 for his last 7 with a homer.
Crushed one here at Chase Field. No doubter. 2.
We mentioned this every day over the last couple of weeks. The Diamondbacks have 33 hits from their pitchers, the most in the majors. Robbie Ray with 7 knocks. He's tied with Madison Bumgarner and Clayton Kershaw for 7th in the majors with those 7 base hits.
And making Velasquez work. 40 pitches, 25 strikes. Waves at the 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and they strand 2. We go to the 3rd. No score. The D-backs and the Phillies. Set for the 3rd inning, and the pitcher Vince Velasquez will lead it off for the Phillies against Diamondback starter Robbie Ray. Very happy as always to have in our booth with us the Chief Baseball Officer and Hall of Famer Tony La Russa. Thanks for stopping by. We like to periodically check in. What are you seeing from your ball club lately?
A lot of spunk on the road trip. A lot of offense. Is more good than not good. The unique thing about today, our strikeouts. If we want to win close games, we had to put the ball in play. And today, we've had 3 very encouraging at bats, outstanding 2-strike at bats. So I think offensively, some improvement with more to come. Pitching, it shows its sparks, and then we'll have a struggle.
The pitching sparks. What do you mean by that?
Well, you'll see like today, the first 2 innings by Robbie. I mean, this is high quality thing. So now he's just got to keep maintaining that delivery. And we liked what we saw from Shelby, and he's got to maintain it.
This is blasted out to right. Yasmani Tomas won't get there. It's off the bullpen wall. Vince Velasquez, the pitcher, leadoff double.
Well, he's in 260 coming into this thing.
Well, and keep in mind, he was a 3-time All-Mount Baldy League first-team infielder, so the guy can hit a little bit.
Pardon me, what?
Mount Baldy.
That's what it says in the media guide. Mount Baldy League.
Has a very nice swing.
Yeah. Tough league. Well, you have to be happy with. I know you would have preferred to win yesterday, certainly, and the day before that. But 7 out of 10 on the road, a long trip. That's got to be a gold star. I look at it, Steve. You go 7-1, and then what happened in the last 2 games? We had very spirited games. I mean, Colorado deserves the wins because they kept plugging as well. But there wasn't anything about our club. There wasn't anything about our club that took those 2 games for granted. We tried to pitch. We didn't pitch as well as we had to. But the offense, I thought yesterday I was really impressed. It's a day game. There's a lot after a long trip that they could have just mailed it in. They got a lead, 5-1 lead, whatever that lead was we got. But overall, I think it was what you need to see. If our club competes, there's not a lot else that you can be angry about except the result sometimes.
Yeah, there was really only one game on that road trip where you felt like you didn't have a great chance against Jay Happ in Toronto when Robbie gave up a 3-run home run in the first inning, gave up another home run later, and then Zach Godley gave up a solo homer. But other than that, every game they either won it or they were in it.
I agree. And You know, and the other thing that you look at, I know it's been historic, it's all human nature, but you get close to the first half, sometimes clubs get distracted and they start thinking about, well, we're going to finally get some days off. It's been a tough 3 months, and our club continues to play. Now we got to do it for the next 12 games.
Peter Borges with Velasquez at third and one out. We were all waiting, and we waited a little longer than anybody thought we may have to, but it seems like that guy's really figured it out up there after a slow start.
I agree, Steve. There's definite improvement. I think he and Mike Butcher have got a very good connection. But you know, he's still only 23 years old. I mean, his best time is ahead of him. And
Goldie at first. Velasquez going to have to stay put. Two down.
I mean, there's two fastball on the inside corner and a wonderful 0-2 break him. I mean, that's all stuff that gets you very excited in this league. The more experience you get, the more times you repeat performances like that. So, you know, I don't want to talk about patience to our fans, but that's exciting when you see the talent like this.
You don't find a lot of young left-handers that throw that hard, right? That's what they tell me.
No, I mean, he's got the kind of delivery too that it's electric, and he gets it up there effortless in many cases. So now this is one of those classic human nature things. You're this close to getting out of this inning against a tough out. This is a big out for us and him.
Tommy Joseph. Robbie trying to strand that runner at third. Where do you think we would be right now without Gene Segura and what he's brought to the table?
Well, I think it's been a tremendous addition. Talk about a guy that puts a lot into the ball game in every dimension. I mean, he plays second base, a lot of enthusiasm. He runs the bases. His at bat, he takes some of the toughest at bats I've seen in a long time. He'll get. I think he had a reputation of swinging early. He's taking a lot of pitches and he falls behind, and then he just keeps gutting it. So. I was still disappointed that I just saw the All-Star voting, and you know, he's not really up there in the second baseman. I'm sure he's being noticed, but I sure hope he gets consideration.
He has just provided so much energy at the top of the order. Really has been a spark plug. See if Robbie can strand that runner at third. 2 outs to go 2. There's a big pitch. Can he hang around 3 more outs?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Tony La Russa back with the chief baseball officer. When we come back, big inning there for Robbie Ray. Score the Phillies and the Diamondbacks, joined again by the chief baseball officer from the D-backs, the Hall of Famer Tony La Russa, who's watching this ball club here. Trade deadline is coming up. Are you guys in the process of conversations amongst yourselves and with other teams about possible moves?
Best attitude always, best preparation is that you take all the scenarios and you start discussing them. You don't want to wait till the last minute and then make some kind of rush judgment. So in this case, you know, we're right at the end of June. July is right there, and you start talking about the what ifs. So yeah, we're having conversations, but you know, we're excited enough about what's happening and the potential improvement that, you know, we're really hoping that we'll finish with 12 good games here at the end and get off to a nice charge at the beginning of the second half.
What is the area in which you think you need to see the most improvement?
Yeah, that's one of those tricky ones, man, as an old manager. Because, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to call anybody out.
Yeah, because somebody's family is listening and say, you know, Tony just said it, and that means that. So my answer is mostly politically direct. Is you know, we could use improvement everywhere.
Now that's a chief baseball officer answer right there.
But you know, one thing that we're excited about, we just mentioned. Look at this guy.
Segura, Borges won't get there. It's a fair ball. Gene. As a leadoff single, that's the 4th hit for the Diamondbacks against Vince Velasquez.
We just talked about Robbie Ray, and you can just see him growing. The same is true. You know, we've got a nice thing going in our bullpen with our 3 veteran relievers. But the guys that pitch in front of them, except for Coleman, are young guys with a lot of talent. And too often, when they get to the big leagues, they just haven't pitched enough to understand the difference between pitching and throwing. So, you know, there's an accelerated program between Butch and Garvin to really teach these guys. Keep your delivery together. You know, you can lose a couple of miles an hour, but just because you know, if you throw 93 instead of 95, that's plenty as long as you locate. Probably get a better breaking ball.
I think that's really true, Tony, for Silvino Bracho. I mean, that seems to have been his big problem. Here's Michael Bourne, because he was so impressive last September and then really seemed to be trying to find himself earlier this year.
Well, that's Steve couldn't have picked a better guy. I mean, he's got great intangibles, got big heart, big courage. But right now, you know, he's had a lot of success just rearing back and firing. And here I think he's tried to fire it up even another hit and run. Get down, get down.
Segura takes off. Herrera's got that one. Now Gene's got to hustle back to the bag. And they got him.
What are we talking about?
Well, you got to play this. I mean, the Diamondbacks played this way all last year, Tony. Very aggressive, putting the foot on the gas pedal.
I think it was. I mean, I commend Chip for putting it on. This guy's tough on the mound. You know, he gets that ball on the ground. It's like a bunt. If it gets through, we got a big inning. It's just, you know, that fastball is tough to get on the ground, and we ended up getting a double play. But I think it was a wonderful call by Chip. You know, sometimes it's not how it works out. It's, you know, what was going on ahead of time. But I just don't remember what we were talking about before.
Oh, Silvino Bracho.
Oh, Bracho. Well, I think that, you know, he's got a big aggressive delivery, but I think even in the big leagues he's tried to throw harder than they did in the minor leagues. And consequently, you've seen times where, I mean, he's just flying all over the place. So that's a learning process. Hey, breathe, back off a little bit, and there's no doubt in my mind that he can do that.
One thing I'm sure the fans would like to see an improvement in, Tony, is the home record. Have you ever seen anything quite like this? D-backs are 6 games over on the road, but I think 12 games under here at home.
But Bob, that talk about conversation. Some of this stuff is happening for the trading deadline, but we've been conversing about that since that opening. Because, you know, we've got the kind of athletic team out there that should play defense and you know, tough outs up and down the lineup. If there's one thing that has really plagued us, we have turned a 1 or 2 run inning into 3, 4, or 5. We have really let innings get away, and I like that because that's something that we've identified, and I know that you know, the staff is working on the pitchers just not getting depressed and the catchers not getting depressed. Just get the next guy out. But if you look back at our games, a lot of games have gotten away from us. And with our offense, if we stay close, we've always got a chance.
To avoid the big inning. Velasquez at 50 pitches, 32 strikes, and Goldie's worked it full. Did you learn anything this year that you didn't know about Paul Goldschmidt last year?
Well, you know, I thought there wasn't anything that could make him better. But the fact that he struggled early.
Yeah.
He's human. And the fact that he is doggedly worked and grinded out every at bat. Now he's back to where he's on time. And you know, I don't want to overwork this, but you know, had those. Look at this guy.
Flanks it off and it rolls into left. Goldie 2 for 2.
Had that wonderful, very fortunate extended time with Albert. And you look at his record. I mean, he set a record for the 10 years, 330 home runs, 100 RBIs. Well, there were 3 of those 10 years, 4 of those 10 years where he got into the late part of May, 1st of June, and he's 220 or something.
Albert Pujols, yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, it's a tough league. And sometimes you start hard, and sometimes you start hot, and sometimes cold. And what Goldie's done to just keep plugging and not getting discouraged and maintaining his responsibility in his time. He is a great player.
Tony, we're starting to see the production at the plate from Jake Lamb that he sort of hinted at last year. Where are you with Jake Lamb?
Exactly the same play. Here's a man that the more at bats he gets, he is just going to get better and better. One of the things that he had the reputation coming up from in our system, which is that's why I've learned to pay a lot of attention to Mike Bell and all the guys that work down there. They had tabbed him as a guy who's late in the game would take a big at bat. We've seen it. You know, last year he hit a grand slam. This year he's at the 2-9 thing. But he's not afraid to be up there in a tough situation and take a big at bat. And that's a great swing there. And that's something that not all players have. I mean, he's got the ability to rise to the occasion. That's very exciting.
And you can't quantify that with a stat either, can you? I mean, you could look at 9th inning homers or runners in scoring position, but that's one of those things that sort of falls between the cracks when you're looking just at numbers, right? That's
a perfect comment. You know, in the end, you can look at the at bats and the guys at 90 RBIs, but if you watch every game and you see where some guys other than 90, you'll see in a tough situation. I'll tell you, when I was here again, I hate to do it if the fans don't like it, but in Chicago, had Harold Baines. You look at Harold Baines, the second half of the game, he was as tough a hitter as anybody. In the first half, sometimes he wasn't, maybe as ready, but you got to look at what guys do when the game's on the line, and Jake's got that ability.
Well, he certainly played like a franchise building block this season. That's for sure. A cornerstone player.
Well, I want to add one thing. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no.
As soon as Peralta gets hurt and they dump 4th place on him and hit him on basically a second year, and the way he's handled that, it just tells you all you want to know about the guts and the competitiveness of this young man.
We've seen this year a lot of situations where in the past Goldie would have been walked intentionally with first base open, a runner at second or third, and this year we're seeing teams go after Goldie carefully, but I think Jake Lamb has a lot to do with that in the on-deck circle.
Well, we've got a few days left. He's got 51 ribbies, and we've got more than half season right now. No, he's and I think the best part about him, he works well with Dave and Mark, and he wants to learn. Get down. And I mean, there's everything about the guys we're talking about are all pluses. The willingness to work and learn and get better and compete. I know that you got to translate that into a lot of wins at home and get over 500, get in contention. Our fans are anxious for that, but it's here and it's coming. It's developing.
2-2 on Jake Lamb. 2 outs and Goldie at first. Got him. The chief baseball officer. Always great to have you, sir. Thanks very much, Tony La Russa.
I see.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Good.
Score, Phillies and D-backs, 4th inning. Hey fans, if you don't have plans yet for the 4th of July, well, it's only 1 week from today, so celebrate with friends and family with us right here inside air-conditioned Chase Field. It's the D-backs and the Padres, a 6:10 start, and then relax. We'll open up the roof for our post-game fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. It truly is the best fireworks show in town. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Maikel Franco leads off the Philly 4th against Robbie Ray.
You know, I asked Tony about the home record, and one of the things that will obviously help turn that around is if the starting pitching continues to improve here at Chase Field. Through the first 19 games this season, team ERA was .690. Opponents were hitting .301 with 25 homers. Over the last 19 games, those numbers have all dropped. ERA of .492 for the staff. Opponents batting average down to .259, and they've only allowed 18 homers.
Well, for me, it's just a bunch of young pitchers that are trying to figure out what they're doing out there, and it's just part of the process. Is that?
And they look great one inning, and then they come out the next inning and go, who is this guy? Where did the guy go that was on the mound last inning?
Frustrating when you're trying to develop a young staff. Phillies are in that same position right now, actually. They'll have highs and lows.
Well, ideally, they all keep their eyes and ears open and observe how Zach Greinke goes about his work out there on the mound, because they have an awful lot to learn from that man.
Franco hits a ground ball right to Segura at second. And he grounds out to open up the 4th. Here comes Cameron Rupp. Philly so far with 3 hits against Robbie Ray. He has struck out 4, including Rupp to end the 1st. But Rupp has hit safely in 5 straight games, 8 of his last 9. Had a lot of luck lately driving the ball into the gaps. .40 pitches for Robbie, 31 strikes. That game plan seems to be working again, primarily fastballs, and he has been the aggressor out there on the attack going after these guys. Worked 2 starts ago at Citizens Bank Park, and it's working again here tonight. No nibbling.
Leave that to us up here in the booth.
Well, ideally, Robbie Ray tonight is between or around 70-75 pitches going into the 5th inning. If he can do that, the coaches really love his chances to get deeper into the ball game. He's completed 6 full innings, only twice in his last 7 starts. Ahead of Rupp, 0-2.
And on a related note, we were told Velasquez would probably be limited to right around 90 pitches. His first game back off the disabled list. Phillies are going to keep a close eye on their right-hander.
He's a valuable commodity for Pete Maccannon's ball club. There's Bob McClure, the pitching coach, on the left end. It's one reason they traded for Jeremy Hellickson, acquired him from the D-backs. They needed at least one veteran guy back there who they could count on for some innings with all these young starters. Missed at 95, and it's 1-2. Center field, Michael Bourne.
Well, while we have a moment here, let's take a look at our Geico This Day in Major League Baseball history. We could go back to 2010. Jamie Moyer, pitching for the Phillies, surpassed Hall of Famer Robin Roberts, also a Philly, for allowing the most home runs in a career. 506 times opponents took Jamie Moyer deep.
Well, they got a hold of that 84-mile-an-hour fastball. Jamie pitched for a long time.
You have to be really, really good to be allowed to pitch long enough to give up 506 home runs.
That's a good point. Look at it that way. Phillies retro looks, home and away.
Yeah.
That might be Dale Unser on the left. Nice pull. Behind Juan Samuel at third. There's a name you haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, Dale Unser. He was a great pinch hitter off the bench for the Phillies back in the day.
Yeah, 83 World Series team. Ahmed got a charge. Galvis can run, and there it is. Robbie Ray has set down 6 in a row. He's given up only 1 hit since the first, but he needs some runs. No score at Chase. Field, Robbie Ray has looked very good so far through 4 innings. Vince Velasquez, for the most part, has been able to match him pitch for pitch, and now Ricky Weeks Jr. leads off the home half of the 4th. D-backs back in town. dbacks.com/tickets. 3 against the Phillies. Good day off on Thursday. The Giants are in here this weekend, then 3 against the Padres. So a 9-game homestand. Come on down. dbacks.com/tickets. Use our AC for a while.
Yeah.
Ricky flying out to center his first time up. First pitch breaking ball from Velasquez is in there for strike 1.
I think that's that spike curve I talked about earlier in the ball game, where the index knuckle is up off the baseball, really pulls down hard with his middle finger. It's that 12-6 break.
D-backs have had 2 hits in each of the last 2 innings, but have yet to get a run across. Goldie so far 2 for 2, a pair of singles. Fastball inside is a strike, says Lance Barrett. It's 1-2.
Velasquez, for as hard as he throws, gets a lot of late movement. If you watch Cameron Rupp behind the plate, a lot of times he's pushing balls back toward the zone that are trying to sink out of the zone.
Came inside again. That looked like the slider, maybe 2-2. Wow, how is 3 a strike and 4 not a strike? You're starting to win me over. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Ricky ends up even anyway, 2-2. Got him. 5 strikeouts for Velasquez.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, let's get some beef Wellington on the menu. He flied out his first time up, 0 for 1. Coming off a day off yesterday at Coors Field. Chip Hale, a 4-game series against the Rockies in Denver, said he would split up his catching duties 2-2 with Castillo and Herman. And Chris caught 2 games, and he admitted he was wiped out, Bob, and we hear guys talk about that all the time. Curt Schilling used to talk about that, and it's something to watch for in this series and on this homestand. The Coors Field hangover, as it were, from playing 4 games at that altitude.
You know, and with that in mind, it was probably a wise decision by the Diamondbacks not to take batting practice on the field. They didn't have BP on the field one time at Coors all 4 games.
Didn't have it today here either.
No, they hit in the cages. Tried to keep as much energy as they could, use it in the ball game rather than waste it practicing before the game.
0-2 on Castillo. Drives it down the left field line, but it's pulled foul.
Hey, partner, I mentioned earlier Chris Bryant with 3 home runs in that game today against the Cincinnati Reds. The Cubs wanted 11-8. Bryant had 16 total bases, which is the most in Cubs history.
Wow.
5 for 5 with 3 homers, a double, and drove in 6 runs at 16 total bases.
Chris Bryant hitting in that little tiny ballpark.
That's not fair.
Hey, Samardzija is in big trouble for the Giants. Oakland just put up 5 in the second. The A's lead at San Francisco 5-0. They're going bottom 2. Another 0-2 to Wellington Castillo. Pops it straight up near the screen. Oh, it went off the heel of the mitt. Hit right on the edge of that padding there. And Castillo lives to fight another day.
Well, you can't use the excuse the wind got it or you lost it in the sun. We're playing indoors.
Great shot from our crew.
Just misjudged that ball as he got back near the backstop. Yeah, another story in other games we're keeping an eye on. Troy Tulowitzki's returned to Coors Field as a member of the Blue Jays. He's 0 for 3 so far in the ball game tonight.
The Blue Jays had a lead in that game, but the Rockies have come back. They now lead at 5-4 in the 7th. A little tapper back to the mound. Velasquez scoops it up and throws him out. John Gray on the mound for Colorado. Cleveland won again, BB. I think that's 10 straight.
I think you're right.
They won 8-3 in Atlanta. Tito Francona's Tribe rolling right now in the AL Central. And Michael Brenly's Red Sox took a beating in St. Pete 13-7.
Come on, Junior.
Well, by the looks of it, he was warming up a lot of pitchers. I can tell you that. Yasmani Tomas a base hit his first time up.
We are back to that Toronto Colorado game. Cargo hit home run number 189 as a Rocky, passing Tulo for 5th on the all-time list.
I tell you what, when he gets hot, he goes on these ridiculous 2-week runs. He might be starting one with the grand slam yesterday he hit. Another home run tonight. There's Kirk Foul Pole Farley fielding that one. Cargo will go 10-day 2-week runs where he'll put up insane numbers. So maybe that's the start of something. If you're playing beat the streak, we've talked about beat the streak. Think about Cargo. He's hot.
Well, Terry Sims, our buddy who made it up to 49 games on the beat the streak before he got beat. He's got me addicted now. I'm playing it every day.
Are you? You were up to 2 and then you lost.
I was up to 2 and then I lost.
How are you doing now?
Well, I have Goldie and Michael Bourne tonight, so Goldie's already on the board. I'm just waiting for Michael Bourne to get his knock.
Oh, so you doubled up tonight?
Yeah, got to. It's late in the season.
To make up for lost time. Freddie Galvis at shortstop having a very good year defensively. And it's a 1-2-3-4. No score. The D-backs and the Phillies. The score, Phillies and Diamondbacks. The second bobblehead of this year's collection, fans. It'll be given away coming up Saturday. Saturday is Goldie Bobblehead Day, so come on down. It's courtesy of Gila River Casinos. The D-backs and the Giants. It's a 7:10 start. Paul Goldschmidt bobbleheads. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. America's first baseman. It says America's first baseman on the bobblehead.
Nice
touch. Tyler Goodell, the left fielder, leads off the fifth against Robbie Ray. First two Phillies in the ball game, Odubel Herrera and Peter Borges, had infield singles against Robbie Ray. After that, he set down 6 in a row. Then the pitcher Vince Velasquez doubled, and after that, Robbie set down 6 in a row again. So he has been in cruise control since the first two batters of the ball game, and he's ahead of Goodell 0-2. And Robbie now at 50 pitches, 40 for strikes. Just outstanding. Talk all the time about Robbie needing to get quick outs early in the ball game. Avoid those long extended at bats with all the foul balls. Those are the two bugaboos that have bitten him time and time again. Well, boy, he's checked both those boxes here tonight. Out there throwing strikes. And ground balls. Jake Lamb, tough play for Jake. Spins and throws. It's right there. 7 straight retired by Robbie Ray. Another ground ball out.
Boy, talking about how efficient Robbie Ray has been tonight. He's thrown first pitch strikes to 12 of the 16 batters that he's faced so far in the game. He's had 7 0-2 counts, 3 or fewer pitches to retire a Phillies hitter 11 times, and he is yet to record a 3-ball count. That is outstanding.
He's also got 7 ground ball outs. That'll really help him stay efficient. Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman. A swing and a miss, another first pitch strike for Robbie Ray. Ahead 0-2. Cesar Hernandez is a switch hitter. He's about 30 points better from the left-hand side. That's where he's hit both his home runs this season, but batting from the right side against Robbie Ray. Stays 1-2. This guy's been a part-time big leaguer the previous 2 years. Had a nice year with the Phillies last season. Hit about 270, stole 19 bases as they benched Chase Utley and eventually sent him to the Dodgers. And Hernandez back at second base this year. There are the platoon splits on Cesar Hernandez. Only a .228 hitter from the right side. Called strike 3. Ring him up and sit him down. That's 5 strikeouts for Robbie Ray, who has now set down 8 in a row.
Pitcher, Vince Velasquez.
Maybe it nipped that outside corner, but when you're pounding that strike zone the way Robbie Ray has been tonight, that umpire gets caught up in it. He likes to get that right arm up in the air.
You see Welly sort of snatched that mid up there just to make it look like it hit the corner. Velasquez, the pitcher, doubled to lead off the third.
I kind of joked that he was all Mount Baldy League first team 3 times as an infielder, but he hit .608 as a junior in high school.
Is there really a Mount Baldy League?
Apparently. You got to be able to rake, though, if you're playing in the Mount Baldy League.
Tough league. Velasquez was jumping up and down swinging at that one. Well, that guy could play in them. Oh, never mind. He might have been an MVP in the Mount Baldy League. That's headed for radio. Mike Farron cowering under the desk. The moral compass diving for cover.
2-2 count.
In there with a governor, Greg Schulte and Tom Candiani. Velasquez putting up a fight. Seen a few more foul balls from the Phillies hitters in this inning against Robbie. The leadoff man Odubel Herrera on deck. He singled to start the ball game. Ring him up. There it is. 6 strikeouts for Robbie Ray. He has set down 15 of the last 16 Phillies he has faced. Still no score here at Chase. Live at Chase Field. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, J.R. Cardenas along the way as the Diamondbacks open up a 9-game homestand with 3 against the fighting Phils. And their starter, Vince Velasquez, who's given up 5 hits so far. Nick Ahmed a single in the second, leads off the 5th. Got to get Robbie Ray some runs. He is pitching a tremendous ball game here tonight. Velasquez starts the 5th at 70 pitches. Breaking ball in there for strike 1. Robbie Ray has set down, let's see, 9 in a row and 15 of 16. Oh, 0-2 on Nick.
Yeah, it's especially impressive given the way the Phillies were swinging the bats coming into this game tonight. Gave you the numbers earlier. They've been absolutely raking on this first 6 games of this road trip. 3 in Minnesota, 3 in San Francisco.
2 big ballparks. I love that ballpark in Minneapolis, Target Field. That's one of the best.
When the weather's nice.
Yeah. It's Minnesota nice, as they say there. '94 missed in. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Nick Ahmed with a pitcher Robbie Ray on deck. Vince Velasquez is in the Tommy John club. He missed all of the 2011 season right after he was drafted out of high school. Good call by Lance Barrett. So they will be doubly sure to watch his pitches and innings this year. He strikes out Ahmed. That's 6 strikeouts for Velasquez.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Robbie Ray, a strikeout victim his first time up. Swing and a miss at 94. Vince Velasquez last year in Houston threw 88 innings. He's never pitched more than 125 innings in any year, so they will monitor him closely. He's already been on the DL with bicep problems this year. The Tommy John guy, as we mentioned 5 years ago. And Scott Boras is his agent.
There you go.
And Boras, as we know, very closely monitors the innings workload on his clients, like he has with other high-profile Tommy John guys. Matt Harvey, Jose Fernandez, Steven Strasburg, all Boras clients who've been through that procedure. And Velasquez says he's talked with Boras. He thinks they'll throw maybe 150, 160 this year in terms of the innings, but no definitive number or limit has been set as of yet. And he came into the ball game tonight having thrown, well, just under 62 innings this year, so he's in pretty good shape. There's Bob McClure, the pitching coach, on the left. Pete McCannon, the skipper, on the right. '94, 7 strikeouts for Velasquez, 2 down in the 5th.
Second baseman,
Gene Segura has struck out and singled, 1 for 2. He will be aggressive very early in the count if he gets a strike. That is not a strike.
Doing his Eddie Goodell impersonation up there, about 3 feet tall when he went into the crouch.
There's a big aggressive cut.
You don't see that a lot from Gene. He doesn't look to pull balls even when he has the count in his favor. He still keeps with the approach up the middle of the field, gap to gap. It's worked so well for him.
Yeah, he'll tell you that he's best off when he's going to right center field. Get that ball down in that right center gap and start running. Bouncer up the middle. Freddie Galvis. Oh, Vince Velasquez has now set down 7 straight. Will head to the 6th. Still scoreless at Chase. Pitchers duel right here. Robbie Ray, Vince Velasquez, scoreless 6th inning. Today's greater coverage of baseball is presented by T-Mobile. We take a look around the National League West. Jeff Samardzija having a rough start at home at AT&T Park in that Bay Area battle. Oakland leads the Giants 5-0. And Tulo's return to Coors Field. The Rockies are beating up on the Blue Jays 9-4 in the 8th. Dodgers 5-4 winners at Pittsburgh earlier today. Robbie Ray has set down 9 straight Phillies and 15 of the last 16 he has faced. And
life is good.
Herrera leads off the 6th. Was that? I imagine this is how you were as a child.
Man, oh. I'm telling you, he's living large right now.
He will be. He keeps eating like that. Herrera singled and grounded out, 1 for 2. Big off balance swing that time. Nice pitch from Robbie Ray. Had him all twisted around. Well, Duble's going to reset the compass. Got to watch out with this guy. Hit a home run against Johnny Cueto yesterday in San Francisco. He's got some pop for a leadoff man, but Robbie's ahead 1-2. 8 home runs on the year for Herrera. He was 3 for 16 in that Diamondback series at Philly at the beginning of the last road trip. He homered off Zach Greinke, but he also struck out 7 times in 16 at bats. He shoots it the other way nicely for a leadoff single, just the 4th hit for the Phillies. So Herrera 2 for 3. Here's Peter Borges.
Right fielder Peter Borges.
Herrera is one of those guys scouts talk about being a toolsy guy because he can show you some big time power from time to time. Covers a lot of ground in the outfield, has good speed, can steal a base, can hit for a high average. Doesn't always bring his A game every night, something he still has to learn how to do, but boy, he can be an impact player.
Borges has singled and grounded out. Shows bunt, pulls back, takes ball 1. Did he go? No, he didn't, says Pat Hobert. Robbie behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Peter Borges with his first inning single has now put together a 7-game hitting streak. He's had 12 hits in his last 7 games, including tonight. And 3 hits yesterday in their loss to the Giants. 70 pitches for Robbie Ray, 53 strikes. That's a foul ball. Time now for our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms strikeout leaders. And guess who's leading the Diamondbacks and looking for 100 on the year? It's Robbie Ray.
Nice round number.
He's got 6 strikeouts tonight. The Valley Baseball products batting back-to-back in this Phillies lineup. Peter Borges from Notre Dame Prep batting second. And Horizon High School's Tommy Joseph on deck. That's in the seats. It's nice to have both guys playing in the same game in front of friends and family, but batting back-to-back as well.
Yeah, it's really special. There's a huge contingent of fans here to support both Peter Borges and Tommy Joseph. And there you see Peter Borges' family, his father Chris in the black shirt, his sister Ashley in the middle there, and his mother Janet on the far right. Sat through many games in youth ball growing up with the Borges family.
2-2.
Yeah, Peter's father is a scout for the San Diego Padres, mixing a little business with pleasure tonight. I was actually a teammate of Chris's. He came up through the Giants system, signed out of Chicago, and worked his way through the Giants minor league system. Had a little bit of time at the major league level. Boy, could he hit, man. He could crush a high fastball.
Another 2-2. The fly ball out to Ricky Weeks Jr. Might drop. Ricky charges and he can't get there. Herrera had to hold up. Borges has his second hit. Applause from the family. And speaking of the local baseball products, we've seen the Borgeses. Now how about the Josephs? And for more on that, here's J.R. Cardenas. J.R.
Yeah, gentlemen, we are having a party here at section 116 because I'm hanging out with the Joseph family. We've got John, Paula, and then little brother Michael over there having an intense conversation about baseball. But you know, what kind of a child was your prodigy that you're watching play?
He was a great kid. He's played baseball all his life, so he worked hard at that. He's got a great personality. He's got a lot of friends. Obviously, we've got a lot of people here, so just very outgoing.
How big is this moment for Mom? How big is this moment to have 95 just on this section, 95 of your closest friends watching your son play?
It's amazing. It's awesome to be here and where he was born and grew up and went to high school, and a lot of friends and family, and it's awesome. It's amazing. The Phillies have been great to him, and he just never gave up. It's awesome.
So far, from what you've seen, Dad, are you happy with his performance so far today?
Sure. Obviously, it could be better, but you know, he's out there, he's playing, he's competing. You know, he's doing what he loves. So, yeah, overall, yes, I'm pleased.
And we have a question for Michael. Michael, you told me you used to be the favorite son. What happened?
You know, he's just a little more athletic than I am, so he can hit a ball a little bit farther than me, so he kind of wins that category, but I'm proud of him, proud of where he's at.
Very nice. Congratulations to all of you guys. Enjoy the rest of the game. Back to you, gentlemen.
That's a lot of tickets.
That's a lot of tickets.
I mean, 95? Wow.
Didn't know he had that many friends.
Yeah, that's impressive. Well, he's up there with a chance to do something. Phillies trying to get the first run on board here. 2 on and nobody out to open up the 6th. And Tommy's already struck out twice, and now he's down 1-2.
Well, Tommy, you might not remember me, but I went to school with your hairdresser's niece, and she said to call you and get tickets.
Can I have 7? 2-2. You know, it's great to play in front of your folks and all the friends and family and all that, but I imagine there's got to be a distraction to go along with that too, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, trying to scatter or find that many tickets, you know, we talked about it earlier this season. That's where you get to trading out with your teammates. You got a guy that's from the LA area, and I'm not going to use my tickets in LA, so I'll tell you what, I'll give you all my tickets in LA if you give me your tickets in Phoenix. That's how you get them.
Got him that time. 96 from Robbie Ray. That's his 7th strikeout. And so far, Tommy Joseph 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs.
Tommy Joseph, a little bit like Peter O'Brien. I mean, you have to live with the strikeouts because every now and then he's going to make contact and hit a ball 500 feet.
Robbie Ray with some work to do. 2 on, 1 out. Maikel Franco has twice grounded out.
You may have noticed there Maikel Franco using Andres Blanco's bat. That happens quite a bit over the course of the season. You get into a little bit of a funk, or you feel like your bat's a little bit too heavy, and you find a bat that belongs to one of your teammates that feels a little better right now.
Well, he needed to do something. 0 for 11 when we saw him at Citizens Bank Park. That one kicks away from Castillo. And that's an extra 90 feet for both Herrera and Borges. So now a single can drive in 2.
Poor effort by Wellington Castillo. It almost looked like he was fooled by that pitch, a slider in the dirt. Talk about it all the time. Breaking balls, change-ups, splitters. You expect those pitches to go in the dirt and you're prepared to block them, but fastballs occasionally will catch you by surprise. I'm not so sure Wellington knew that slider was coming.
Goldie with a little smile and a smirk there to Wellington Castillo. But you got to get some offense for Robbie Ray. He has pitched a brilliant ball game. Exactly what you've asked him to do time and time again. 80 pitches, 60 of them for strikes. He's got 7 strikeouts. He's got a bunch of ground ball outs. And he's had a couple of infield singles. He had one bloop drop in there for a base hit. And he's got a threat going here for the Phillies with Herrera at third, Borges at second, 1 out, and a 1-0 count on the cleanup man, Maikel Franco. It's along the right field line. There's Manny Tomas. Hopefully he's all right. And flying into that fence with a Superman leap.
Gave it a good effort that time. He kind of disappeared from our view up here in the booth as he got down in that right field corner. Used his foot to protect himself on that wall down there in the corner. Nice try.
Strike 1 on Franco.
The wall is undefeated.
Hasn't lost yet. Well, lost once on the ball that Chip Hale hit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Rodney McRae ran right through the fence.
Other than that, it always wins. Just by a diving Nick Ahmed, Herrera will score the first run of the game. Franco has an RBI single, and it's 1-0 Phillies.
Just out of the reach of Nick Ahmed down there at shortstop. That ball was hit hard. A 94-mile-an-hour fastball down on the inside part of the plate. That's a nice swing by Franco right there, producing that line drive. First run of the game.
Well, 3 singles in this inning for Philadelphia. Here's Mike Butcher now to talk it over. Mickey Morandini, former Philly great, coaching at first. The D-backs continue this series against the Phillies tomorrow, fans. 6 o'clock Diamondback Live pregame show. Zach Greinke is on the mound. And then on Wednesday, during your lunch break, catch the ball game at noon. A matinee. Don't forget matinee ticket pricing at dbacks.com. Coverage starts on Wednesday with the Diamondbacks Live pregame show on Fox Sports Arizona. Or you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. So Zach Greinke pitches here tomorrow night. Archie Bradley Wednesday afternoon. Borges at third, Franco at first. 1 out, 1 run in. Here's big head Cameron Rupp. Rupp has struck out, flied out 0 for 2.
Well, this is exactly what Tony La Russa was talking about earlier when he was in the booth visiting us. Don't let an inning get away from you.
Yeah.
You give up 1. Phillies have strung together 3 hits in the last 4 batters to push across that run, but don't let it be a crooked number. Throw a ground ball here, get a strikeout, pop up on the infield, something to keep that runner at third base and hopefully escape this inning.
This is what happened to Robbie in the first inning in his last start at Toronto on Tuesday. He labored through a very difficult first against the Blue Jays, gave up a double, gave up a base on balls, and was trying to get out of it, and then made a mistake to Russell Martin, who belted it for a 3-run homer. He only gave up 4 hits in that ball game at the Rogers Center, but never did put that first inning behind him. Can't afford to make a mistake here to a guy like Rupp, who can hit it as far as anybody when he gets a hold of one. Behind in the count, 2-0. Base hit. Borges will score, and it's 2-0 Philadelphia. Fourth hit in the inning for the Phillies.
Normally you'd be content to give Cameron Rupp a base hit to the opposite field with the kind of power that he has, but with a runner perched at third base, that's an easy RBI for the Phillies catcher. Michael Franco ran to second base like his feet hurt.
Well, they have a trainer out there. Pete McCannon, the skipper, out there as well.
I think it might have been on that pickoff attempt over there at first base. The Diamondbacks took a quick look at the video to see if maybe Goldie applied the tag before Franco got back on the base. And then on Rupp's base hit to right field, he barely made it to second base.
Still just one out in the inning. And the batter is the shortstop, Freddie Galvis. Franco at second, or up at first, 2 runs in. Phillies have now out-hit the Diamondbacks 7-5. Let's take a look.
This was Franco on that pickoff attempt at first base. He kind of went back in awkwardly.
Oh, grabbing the side of his knee.
Maybe hyperextended that right knee, maybe the hamstring, not quite sure, but back in very awkwardly.
In the meantime, Pete McCannon has his bullpen work and had 2 guys up earlier. Adam Morgan, who started against the Diamondbacks at Citizens Bank Park, had been warming up, the left-hander. And now Eddie Ray Ramos, the right-hander, who was just called up and has got electric stuff. Looks like he's ready to go. And Vince Velasquez is only at 84 pitches, coming off that biceps issue right off the DL, so maybe they're going to be extra cautious with him.
Yeah, the Phillies said it was like a soft 90 pitch count, depending on where they were in the ball game and how much stress that Velasquez was pitching with, but he might pull the plug on him here.
2-1 to Galvis. Holds that to Goldie. There's the tag on Rupp. They get the force. And Franco in at third. Yeah, the kid that's up now in their bullpen, Ramos, just called up from AAA Lehigh Valley. On Friday, they had to put Andrew Bailey, the veteran, on the DL, and boy, people have been raving about Ramos. They may really have a future closer here in that guy. Tyler Goodell.
You need to stop the bleeding right now if you're Robbie Ray. Through the first 5 innings of this ball game, he gave up only 3 hits in 18 plate appearances. He's given up 4 hits in the last 6 plate appearances.
Well, he had retired 15 of 16 batters going into this inning. Franco is the runner at third. Galvis at first. 2 outs for Tyler Goodell, who's 0 for 2. Bounces one there.
Nice stop there by Wellington Castillo.
Got a runner at third base.
That was a hard slider, but he was anticipating that there was a possibility that ball could end up in the dirt, and well, he was in perfect position to keep that one in front.
Sky high pop up, very shallow right center field. Segura drifting out. Bourne calls him off. And he's got it. Phillies get 2. They take a 2-0 lead. D-backs trail the Phillies 2-0 as we start the home half of the 6th inning. Hey fans, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Positive Coaching Alliance and its mission to develop better athletes, better people, by working to provide all youth and high school athletes a positive character-building sports experience. You can visit foxsportsupports.com and learn more. Vince Velasquez's night is over, and here's a young pitcher that the Phillies are very excited about. Just his 3rd major league appearance, Eduardo Ramos. He worked Saturday in San Francisco and retired the side on 10 pitches. Quoting Cameron Rupp, the catcher, this guy has got fire coming out of his hand. They love what they see in this young arm.
2 appearances before tonight, an inning in the 3rd pitch, and he already has his first big league balk.
Well, he's got Bob Davidson at 3rd. As Michael Bourne leads it off. Pete Buchanan said he was very excited about what he saw from Ramos. Kobayashi takes over in left. He'll bat 9th. And the pitcher's spot now 7th in the Phillies order as Ashe replaces Tyler Goodell. Ramos behind 2-0 on Michael Bourne. Bourne 0 for 2. This is a guy who gets up 96, 97 with his fastball. That's a strength. But what has everybody raving is not only just the velocity, but the breaking stuff. Everything for strikes, and he attacks, attacks, attacks. He seems to have no fear out there for a young guy. And they think they have their future closer right here.
Yeah, obviously very early on in his career, but just a fastball, hard curveball mix. As you said, throwing everything for strikes.
Trying to come in on Bourne and missed a leadoff walk. And here comes Goldie, who's 2 for 2.
And everything up so far from Ramos.
Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Highest on base percentage in baseball this year. Goldie leads all of Major League Baseball in walks and on base percentage, ahead of David Ortiz.
Not taking anything away from David Ortiz, who is probably having one of the best retirement seasons ever in the history of the game. But the difference between Goldie and David Ortiz is Goldie gets on base, he might steal a base, he might score from first on a double. David Ortiz needs 3 triples to score him from first base.
Takes him 20 minutes just to run around the bases after a home run. Ooh, that's a good pitch there by Ramos. It buckled Goldie, and he jumps ahead 0-2. Dropped that one in there nicely. Oof, there's the breaking stuff they're talking about. And when you can follow that up, that kind of command, and throw that for strikes, and then throw 97, 98 with a fastball. That's a pretty difficult combination to beat. The 0-2 reaches out, stays alive. Goldie, with his 2 singles tonight, has now hit safely in 6 straight and 19 of his last 20 games. And during that stretch is batting over 400. He was at 260 a while ago. Now he's at 307. He's done that in about 3 weeks. Lays off that one close, but it's a ball.
Boy, that is a tough pitch to lay off of right there in a 2-strike count. Drop that curveball maybe on the corner, maybe just off the corner.
What a great pitch on 0-2. Great pitch right there. Bourne takes off for second. The pitch is a strike. Goldie strikes out, and Michael Bourne is in there with his 7th stolen base. With a curveball again.
Michael Bourne almost slid right over the bag out there at second base. Rupp's throw was a little bit late, but you can see Cesar Hernandez holding that tag on Michael Bourne. Fortunately, he was able to keep a body part on the bag the entire time.
And we're going to have a challenge here. The headsets will come on.
I think he was able to maintain contact with the base.
Dale Scott, the crew chief, is the second base umpire.
clearly beats the throw. The foot's on the bag right there. The back foot's on the bag.
Yeah, he's out. He's out. And we talked about this the other day. They looked at how to prevent these kinds of things from happening, and Major League Baseball has said, look, there's really no way that we can fix this. What are you going to do? I mean, you're off the bag, you're off the bag. So the onus is on the runner, and they've told everybody, you have to stay on the base. It seems like kind of a ticky-tack way to get it out, but if you can think of a way around it, by all means, well, let them know.
The way around it is to teach guys how to slide properly. Michael Bourn should know better than to hit the bag this hard and come off the backside and just hope you can get your hand back on the base before the tag.
Yeah, he's out. The replay review is already done. Bourn caught stealing, so it's a strike him out, throw him out.
And that may be a really positive byproduct of all these ticky-tack calls out there at second base. Guys may learn to slide right.
So Goldie strikes out. Rupp throws out Bourn trying to steal. Quickly 2 down. Nobody on for Jake Lamb.
Now batting, third baseman.
Jake has struck out twice. That didn't take long at all. That's a fair ball. Joseph has it, and Ramos is out of the inning. Diamondbacks have been out hit 7-5. They trail it 2-0. Field. D-backs trail the Phillies 2-0. 7 hits for the Phillies, 5 for the Diamondbacks. Robbie Ray had been rolling along through 5, but Philadelphia had 4 singles in the 6th inning. They got 2 runs across, and now Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman, leads off the 7th. Hernandez has grounded out, struck out 0 for 2. Robbie Ray now over 90 pitches. Bullpen will get ready for the Diamondbacks as he starts the 7th inning. Only difference for Robbie in that 6th and now again in the 7th seems to be he started falling behind in counts.
He's been so good at attacking that strike zone early, jumping ahead with that first pitch strike and continuing with a second pitch strike, really putting the hitter in a defensive position.
Jake Barrett warming up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Everybody getting loose down there. It's about that time of night. Wow, missed with that one at 95. 3-1. First 3-ball count of the ball game for Robbie Ray. Blasted into center, a leadoff single.
That's a problem with falling behind in the count. It even makes guys hitting at the bottom of the order dangerous. They take a much more aggressive swing when the hitter's ahead in the count. That time a ringing single into center field.
First at bat tonight for Cody Asche, who took over in left field for Tyler Goodell after the double switch. Here comes Mike Butcher.
While Mike Butcher's making a trip to the mound, I'd like to acknowledge Gene Golobetti.
Yeah.
Now, Gene used to work here at the ballpark for years and years on the suite level, and she had a question. How do they keep up with all the laundry, especially on the road, she says. Now, you think about it, you got 25 players. They come out here for batting practice. They sweat through their practice gear. They throw it in a basket. They put on their game uniforms. At the end of the day, they throw those in the basket. You got the coaching staff. You got all the peripheral staff down there in the clubhouse. That's a lot of laundry. Well, they've got these ginormous industrial-sized washers and dryers. And Roger Riley and his staff last night, when we got back from the road trip, we got to go home and go to bed. They got to stay here and do laundry.
Yeah. And when the bus pulls up coming back from wherever we just were, Colorado, there's a team of guys, and they unload the truck, and then those guys go to work in the middle of the night. Got to get ready for the next day. So they figured out how they'll attack Cody Asche. There's strike one. Asche 278, 2 home runs. And he's been heating up on this Phillies road trip, first through Minnesota, then San Francisco. 8 for 19 on the trip. He's doubled 4 times. Yeah, we weren't going through Toronto, and some passenger who just happened to be going through the airport. Oh, you're a baseball team. Well, what baseball team are you? And she didn't know anything about sports. It was fine. And well, everybody just kept parading through one after the other, and she was, I can't believe how many people it takes to get you guys on the road from place to place. It is quite a traveling party.
Oh, yeah. At least 2 busfuls of players and hangers-on like us.
Yeah.
Coaching staff,
training staff,
front office personnel that happen to be on the trip.
The 0-2 to Cody Asche. That's 99 pitches for Robbie. Jake Barrett looks like he's ready down in that bullpen.
Chip would probably like to get Robbie through this at bat successfully and then face Odubel Herrera, and then you've got a string of right-handed hitters after that. We may see Jake Barrett for Peter Borges, the number 2 hitter in the Philly lineup.
Lance Barrett doesn't bite. 1-2. 100 pitches for Robbie. 71 strikes. He's been outstanding. Hernandez takes off, and Asche laces it down the right field line. It's headed for the corner. Tomas plays it off the carom. Juan Samuel will wave Hernandez in. It's an RBI double for Cody Asche, and it's 3-0 Phillies.
You can see Cody Asche getting closer and closer to that Robbie Ray fastball throughout that at bat. Finally gets one he can handle and jerks it down into that right field corner for an RBI.
A single and a double open up the Phillies' 7th. And here's the leadoff man, Odubel Herrera. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. He scored the game's first run. Bunts it foul. By the way, something just occurred to me. How did you, since you're not a social media guy and you read actual newspapers with newsprint and ink on your hands and the whole thing, how did they get the question to you? Because you're hard to get hold of.
Well, Jean wrote me a very nice handwritten card. Told me about her job history. She actually told me what she made when she worked here. I won't divulge that.
Well, they're going to have a medical visit to the mound here to look at Robbie Ray. Ryan DePanfilo is out there, and they're looking at his fingers.
That's usually a blister issue.
Looks like it hurts.
That's going to be it.
Yep. So Jake Barrett is coming into the ball game. Another Valley High School product out of Desert Ridge, and the night ends for Robbie Ray. He leaves trailing 3-0. Jake Barrett on his way in. Back after this. Seventh inning at the D-backs sombrero coming up Saturday, July 16th. D-backs and Dodgers. There's Todd and the sisters from our trip to Philadelphia. And stick around after that ball game on July 16th. The Diamondbacks and Dodgers. A post-game concert featuring Latin recording artist and a big D-backs fan, Luis Coronel. It's presented by Sprint. Visit dbacks.com. That's the day that we broke the story on the sisters, who were actually from the musical Nonsense.
Yeah.
At least I'm told that's a musical.
Well, we hope they were, because they were all slugging beers down.
Pounding the 40 ounces. All right, here we go. Your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. The rookie right-hander Jake Barrett, a 2.30 ERA in 30 appearances. He suffered a blown save his last time out. That was yesterday. Threw 23 pitches, and now he's inherited a bit of a mess from Robbie Ray. In fact, he's inherited an 0-1 count.
This batter will go on Jake Barrett's record rather than Robbie Ray's. Jake Barrett averaging a strikeout per inning. He's been a big-time power pitcher. Another one of those young power arms that Tony La Russa was talking about. Occasionally needs to throttle back just a little bit to keep it in the strike zone, but for the most part, he's been really good out of that D-backs bullpen.
Well, Cesar Hernandez led off the 7th inning with a single. Cody Ashe doubled down the right field line to score. Hernandez with a third Phillies run. And now Robbie Ray's had to leave with what appears to be a blister issue. It's funny, Bob, because I don't recall seeing Robbie looking down at his hand or his finger at any point in the ball game.
Yeah, usually it's a progressive thing. You know, you kind of feel a hot spot on your finger, but you don't pay much attention to it. And gradually, with the friction off the baseball, that blister works itself into a position where you can't stop paying attention to it.
So here's Herrera, 2 for 3, a pair of singles. Cody Ashe, the runner at second. Nobody out, a run in. Carves that the other way, and it drops in. Juan Samuel will wave Ashe home. The throw from Ricky Weeks Jr. is cut off, and it's 4-0 Phillies. 3 for 4 night for Odubel. That's been a problem, Bob, for Jake Barrett all season long. Inherited runners, the first batter he faces when he comes in.
Yeah, certainly one of the things the manager has to pay attention to regarding the order of pitchers that you bring in out of the bullpen. Some guys are much better suited to come into a game with nobody on base, start an inning fresh. Other guys are able to pitch with traffic on base as soon as they come into the game.
You'll note if you go through Jake's game logs, he'll come in a situation like that and very often give up a hit and a run immediately, and after that he is pretty much lights out.
Now 22 inherited runners before today for Jake Barrett. 12 of them had scored.
So now 10 hits for the Phillies. They lead at 4-0. Here's Peter Borges, who's got a pair of singles. He scored a run. This is driven to deep left center field. It's going to one-hop the wall. So a break for the Diamondbacks as Herrera will have to stop at third. They would have scored easily on that play had it stayed in the yard. So Peter Borges a 3 for 4.
Now Peter enjoying his return to Chase Field a little bit more than Tommy Joseph so far tonight.
Three-hit game. Red hot Peter Borges. Last 7 games including tonight he's got 14 hits.
That's my boy.
Here's the Borges family. Well, this is the matchup. Tommy Joseph, the Valley product out of Horizon High School, facing Jake Barrett out of Desert Ridge High School in Mesa. These two have seen each other before, certainly. There's Jake
throwing the same slider he just got 0-2 on Tommy Joseph with.
And there's Tommy Joseph at Horizon High. Well, Tommy Joseph 0 for 4 with 4 punch-outs in front of 95 family and friends.
Third baseman, Michael Franco.
Michael Franco now. Franco an RBI single his last time up. He's 1 for 3.
Well, just like Jake Barrett won that matchup with Tommy Joseph, his team won the state championship back in '07 against Tommy Joseph's Horizon.
Now here they are playing in the big leagues just down the street. Wild swing from Franco, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, and you'd be well advised to be careful on Greenway Road when Horizon's playing a home game, because if somebody takes one deep over the left field wall, it's out on the street.
Sounds like the voice of experience. Drives it to center. That drops in. Herrera will score. Borges being waved home. The throw from Ahmed is not in time. A 2-run single for Michael Franco, and the Phillies have opened up a 6-0 lead.
Waited on that slider nicely. I think Wellington Castillo was crossed up again. Watch him start to reach up. He thought that was going to be a fastball. Man.
It's 3 RBIs tonight for Franco.
And we're too deep in the season to have cross-ups like that. It didn't really affect the play or the game in any way, shape, or form, but Wellington Castillo was obviously expecting a fastball. Jake Barrett threw a slider.
And your Valley Honda dealer's key to the game was no surprises.
Yeah. Well, there was a surprise right there, and it's surprising how this Phillies team has rebounded after getting swept in Philadelphia and looked anemic offensively.
Yeah, they look like a beaten ball club that entire series. Cameron Rupp an RBI single his last time up. A 2-run Phillies 6th has been followed by a 4-run 7th. 96 misses 1-0. The Phillies tonight, innings 1 through 5, all scoreless. They went a combined 3 for 18. But in innings 6 and now 7, they are 9 for their last 13, and they've scored 6 times. 12 hits now for the Phils, only 5 for the Diamondbacks. And take the first 5 innings that Robbie Ray threw tonight and put them in a picture frame because they were gorgeous. 5 scoreless innings for Robbie. Gave up only 3 hits. Retired 15 of 16, and then things fell apart in the 6th when he started getting behind in counts. And now Jake Barrett's had some problems of his own in relief. 3 of the first 4 to face him have had base hits. In the seats, and it's 2-2.
And once again, I refer back to Tony La Russa and his comment about the young power arms in that Diamondbacks bullpen. Jake Barrett, a perfect example, a guy that can easily hit 96, 97 consistently, but can't command it at that velocity. A lot of pitches belt high over the heart of the plate. Probably be a lot better served to throw 93, 94 with some command.
Hard 95 there. Haven't seen that splitter either from Jake that looked so good last month. He's sort of put that away for a while. Cameron Rupp is a big dude, 6'2", 260. Two balls and 2 strikes. Rolls away from Wellington Castillo, and Franco's in at second. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Josh Colementor getting busy down there.
Good view of Diamondbacks right-hander warming up down there in the bullpen.
Yeah, that's a cool seat if you're sitting out there. Really check things out. Full count, 3-2. Franco at second after the wild pitch by Jake Barrett. Did he check? Yes, he did, says Pat Hoberg. Rupp almost screwed himself into the ground trying to check his swing, but I guess he did. Let's see. Yeah, he did.
Get that barrel back. That's a strong man to get that far into your swing and still be able to hold the barrel of the bat back.
It's the first walk issued by Diamondbacks pitchers tonight. So first and second, still only 1 out. And here's the shortstop, Freddie Galvis. Back to Goldie. They get one at second. Barrett covers, but Galvis, who runs well, beats that out. Franco in at third. And now we'll get the pitcher's spot for the Phillies. Jimmy Paredes is out in front of the Philly dugout. But he's been recalled, and Ramos, the pitcher now with a 6-0 lead, will take the at bat.
Pitcher, Edubre Ramos.
Edubre Ramos, who looked so good in his appearance in the bottom of the 6th.
Heads up on the right side.
Old school, no batting gloves. I would think a pitcher, we just watched a guy have to leave a game because of a blister. I would think a pitcher would use batting gloves.
I think he was kind of caught by surprise by this at bat. We saw Paredes up in the on deck circle, was ready to pinch hit for the pitcher spot, but with a 6-0 lead now, Pete McCann is just going to let his right-hander roll here and take this at bat.
They're on the corners with 2 outs. 9th man to bat in the Phillies 7th. Well, it's not like he's got a lot of experience. It becomes quite an attraction for the other pitchers when a guy who never hits gets an opportunity. They all jump up on the top step.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Hellickson, the former Diamondback, there on the left. Well, he's worked it even now, 2-2.
Doesn't really look like he has a lot of intention to swing here. It could surprise me, but I think he'd be perfectly content to take a called strike 3 and go back out and do what he does best, pitch. Watch out.
And every Philly pitcher on that top step has to scatter. Big smile from Ramos.
Always a good idea with a guy taking his first major league at bat to be heads up on the opposite field side and scatters the gallery over there.
Ryan Howard, the veteran, barely blinked. Everyone else ran for cover. And how about this in his first big league at bat? He's got a full count, 3-2. Seventh pitch of the at bat right here from Jake Barrett. There goes Galvis from first, and he walked him. That's going to bring Chip Hale out of the dugout. Josh Colemente warming up with the bullpen, and they're going to bring Josh in here. And it looks like Brandon Drury is going to check into the ball game. Maybe for Jake Lamb at third, it seems like.
Lamb made the last out in the 6th inning. That would seem to make the most sense.
And that's the way they're going to play it here. So Josh Colemente comes in along with Brandon Drury. And we'll take a break at Chase. Diamondbacks down 6-0.
the top half of the 7th inning, taking a 6-0 lead. Hey, the Diamondbacks and Geico are proud to offer military and first responders ticket discounts all season long and every game this homestand to celebrate our nation's independence. These discounts include half off to all Sunday home games this season. For more information and to get tickets, visit dbacks.com/military.
New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Josh Colmenter, 9 appearances, a 5.68 ERA. He had a rough 8th inning at Coors Field Saturday when the Rockies sent 9 men to the plate against him, got 4 runs, and he was the winning pitcher in that 4-hour 30-minute game on Friday, threw only 4 pitches. And now the Phillies have batted around. Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman, to let off this inning with a single and scored a run. Bats again. Brandon Drury takes over for Jake Lamb at third. And he will bat 9th, pitcher spot now 4th in the Diamondbacks order. Franco, the runner, at third. Galvis at second, and Ramos, the pitcher, at first. As an unnamed Phillies fan just texted me, Bob, if you double switch and your pitcher bats the next inning anyway, things have gone your way.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The reason you do double switch most of the time is to try to stay away from that pitcher taking an at bat.
They had such a big lead, they figured what the heck, and they ended up drawing a base on balls in his first big league plate appearance. And there he is.
Well, for Ramos, that was his first professional plate appearance. He didn't even have one in the minor leagues.
Looked like a hitter. What were you saying about no surprises?
Yeah. Well, this is a different Phillies ball club than we saw in Philadelphia. As you mentioned, I mentioned it. They were anemic. They were really struggling just to get runners on base. But they're swinging the bats with a lot of authority over this 6-game road trip, and today being the 7th game.
10th man to bat in the Phillies' 7th. 2-2. Two walks already in the inning for the Diamondbacks pitchers, and now a full count on Hernandez with 2 outs of the bases full. Franco at third, Galvis at second, Ramos at first. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Cesar Hernandez. Runners go, and he hits a little bloop over the head of Drury. Franco scores, Galvis right behind, and it's 8-0.
Oh, rains, it pours.
Hernandez 2 hits in the inning.
The first one was a line drive back up the middle. This one a little floater. He hits it off the trademark of the bat. He wasn't even quite sure where the ball went after he made contact. He's looking for it. He knows it's up in the air somewhere. Lands in shallow left field, driving home 2 more teammates.
Cody Ashe had an RBI double and scored a run earlier in this inning. Here's a fly ball to Bourne. The Phillies send 11 men to the plate. 6 of them score. They lead at 8-0.
The Phillies take an 8-0 lead over the Diamondbacks. Hey, D-backs fans, just a reminder, when you can't watch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and the Diamondbacks baseball wherever you go.
We go to the bottom of the 7th at Chase Field. D-backs have been out hit 13-5. They trail at 8-0. Ramos back out there for the Phillies, and Ricky Weeks Jr. leads it off. How about this? Diamondbacks, BB, played 4 games at Coors Field. We just played 4 against the Rockies. 1-2 lost 2. Had 56 hits. Have 5 hits tonight. How are we looking?
And the other side of that coin is the Phillies in that 4-game series back at Citizens Bank. What is it called? Citizens Bank?
Citizens Bank Park. The bank.
They scored 5 runs in a 4-game series. They had 20 total hits in 4 ball games. Tonight they've got 8 runs and 13 hits.
Weeks Jr., Castillo, Tomas 5, 6, and 7 in the D-backs 7. Well, he will drop that breaking ball in there for a strike and then fire 97 at you. Threw some beautiful curveballs that struck out Paul Goldschmidt in the 6th. There's another one, got it in on the hands with that breaker. Staying away from the fastball with Ricky Weeks Jr. here. Stays 1 and 2.
Ricky's come a little closer the last couple curveballs. It's about time to switch it up and try to overpower him with a high fastball here. We'll see what Ramos does.
Ricky had 3 hits and a walk in his start yesterday at Coors Field.
Fastball away.
Got it up over the plate. Galvis backhands it, long throw. 1 away. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of the 3-game set tomorrow night. Jared Eichhoff, we saw him at Citizens Bank Park in the Cradle of Freedom on the last road trip. Zach Greinke on the mound for the D-backs, 10-3 on the year. That's a 6:40 start. Diamondbacks Live pregame show comes your way at 6 right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Yeah, Eichhoff took the loss in that game against Zach Greinke in Philadelphia. Went 5 2/3, gave up 9 hits and 3 runs.
Here's Zach, who gets the ball tomorrow. Archie Bradley will start Wednesday afternoon, a matinee game. Get dbacks.com/tickets for that ball game, fans. Watch Archie and we'll get you some matinee pricing on your seats. Save some money. Enjoy the air conditioning here Wednesday afternoon with us. Castillo 0 for 2. Now he's down 0 2. Yes, he went, says Pat Hoberg. Called strike 3. Second strikeout for Ramos. Both looking. Elevated fastball at 93. Lance Barrett makes a call that Chip Hale's not too happy with, and Chip's letting him have it from the dugout.
It didn't get much of the zone.
And he's getting the hand now. That's enough. Talk to the hand.
Because you never miss any, Lance. Might have caught the top of the strike zone. Man.
Oh, wow. Above the letters. Tomas singled in the second. He's 1 for 2. Oh, drop that one in there for a strike. 0-2. Well, he can really throw that breaker for strikes anytime he wants. Very good command with it. Wants this one down. And he strikes out Tomas. 3 strikeouts for Ramos. We'll head to the 8th. It's 8-0 Phillies. Start the 8th inning here at Chase Field. Hey fans, only a few days left to enter the Chaz Roberts AC giveaway. You can nominate a family or nonprofit organization that's in need of a new air conditioning unit by logging on to chazroberts.com/coolplay. And the entries are due this Thursday, June 30th, from our friends at Chaz Roberts. Nice work that they do here in the Valley, keeping everybody cool.
Well, that's right on time. I heard it's supposed to start getting hot.
Well, yeah, we were in Canada when it was 120 here. Odubel Herrera, 3 singles, an RBI. He scored twice. Leads off the 8th against Josh Colminter. Fields about hit the D-backs 13-5. They lead at 8-0. And Herrera back over 300 for the year. In the air to Ricky Weeks Jr. Backing up to left field, and he won't get there. And Herrera's in at second. It's been that kind of night.
That ball carried a lot further than Ricky expected. Herrera's been carving some balls out that way tonight. 2 of his base hits have come just like this to the opposite field. That ball just seemed to continue to carry. Ricky looked like he had a bead on it, and then was too far underneath the ball, couldn't recover in time.
Well, he didn't touch it. It's ruled a double for Herrera, his 4th hit tonight.
I'm not a big fan of that. He didn't touch it, so it's a hit. The ball should have been caught.
Peter Borges. Peter has 3 hits, 2 singles, a double. He scored twice.
Now 14 for 26 on this road trip that the Phillies are on. He was hitting .217 before the trip started. Now he's up to .260.
Pretty good. 14 hits in 7 games. Well, Pete Mackanin had said earlier this month that Borges would have to make a drastic change in his approach offensively. They like the glove, but you know, they got Ashe back off the DL. They want to get Goodell some at bats. So Borges' spot was on the line, and he has really picked up things with a bat. Kind of got to the point where they were saying, you know what, maybe the defense really isn't outweighing the light hitting anymore. Well, Peter has responded big time.
It's a great opportunity for him here in Philadelphia, a team that's in a serious rebuilding mode. They're looking for anybody that can play the game.
Olmenter strikes him out. One away in the 8th. Well, speaking of strikeouts, here's Tommy Joseph, and he's got 95. Yes, 95 friends and family here today. The Horizon High School product, but he has struck out all 4 times up. Center. Broke in, had to break back. Herrera will go back to second tag and hit for third. That is a whole lot of friends and family. Now, imagine getting 95 seats for. I need 95 tickets. That's amazing.
Well, I hearken back to what one of my coaches, Bob Lillis, taught me very early in my major league career. When people ask for tickets, there's one of 2 answers you give. If it's family, you say no. And if it's anybody else, you say heck no.
Michael Franco. He's got 2 singles, a run scored. He's knocked in 3. And he looks at strike 1 from Josh Colmenter. Trying to strand Herrera at third with 2 down. Oh, and 2.
You know, partner, we were singing the praises of Gene Segura earlier, and rightfully so. But you look at the top 2 guys in this Phillies lineup tonight, combined 7 for 10 with 2 doubles. They've scored 4 runs.
Herrera and Borges. Bounced over the mound. Segura was on the third base side of second. He races over there and gets it. And they strand Herrera. Bottom 8 on the way. Diamondbacks down 8-0. Diamondbacks trail at 8-0. Robbie Ray was tremendous through 5 innings. In fact, he retired 15 of 16 batters heading into the 6th. And then things kind of fell apart for him. Jake Barrett had a rough outing. In relief for Robbie Ray, who had to leave the ball game with an apparent blister injury, something on his finger. In any case, it's been 8 Phillies runs on 14 hits, only 5 hits for the Diamondbacks. They trail at 8-zip. And the new pitcher for Philadelphia, the right-hander Hector Neris. And he'll face Nick Ahmed to lead off the Arizona 8th.
Neris leads the National League in games pitched. He's 4th in innings, 6th in strikeouts. Started the season really good through his first 26 games. His ERA stood at 1.29, but over his last 12 games, it's been 6.35.
Nick Ahmed has singled, struck out, 1 for 2. Hit for Ahmed. Well, Nick had 8 hits in 10 games on the road trip, including a home run. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
Third baseman,
Brandon Drury double switched into the ball game. Pitcher spot is 4th in the D-backs order. Brandon batting in the 9-hole. 274, 8 home runs. Well, it's any consolation, and it's not much. The Giants are going through very much the same thing at home tonight. Jeff Samardzija had a very rough start for San Francisco. They trailed the A's 8-1 in the 8th inning at AT&T Park. Dodgers 5-4 winners in Pittsburgh. Rockies beat the Blue Jays 9-5, and Troy Tulowitzki's returned to Coors Field.
That Bay Bridge series in San Francisco with Oakland coming across the bay to play the Giants at AT&T. That's always a bigger deal for Oakland than it is for San Francisco.
Well, because they're sort of they're sort of like the Jon Snow of that battle, you know, sort of the overlooked distant son. No,
I'll take your word for it.
Hey, you didn't watch last night?
I missed it.
Oh my goodness, everything happened last night. I won't spoil it for anybody, but
good.
Winter is here. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, winter is here.
A little like the White Sox and the Cubs in Chicago. You know.
Yeah, that's a better analogy than mine.
Maybe the Mets and Yankees.
Well, I mean, the A's have the worst ballpark in baseball, and the Giants have one of the best. The Giants have all those World Series championships lately. Oakland hasn't won one in a while since Tony was managing. Plus, it's kind of a San Francisco Oakland thing anyway, right? Isn't San Francisco, you know, sort of the white wine and cheese crowd, and Oakland, that's where
beer and pretzels.
Yeah. Billy Martin. Franco with a terrific play, the barehander, and a perfect throw to get Drury. Maikel Franco, a great defensive play at third.
Kind of got caught in between hops right there. Came up with a very creative way to get the out. He just bare hands that ball and fires it across the diamond. Just a smothered ground ball right there. Franco with that big paw reaches out and grabs it. A nice play on the other end by Tommy Joseph.
You know, and on that play, Franco really looks like a guy he gets compared a lot to, Miguel Tejada. You know, sort of that corner infield shortstop third base type. He's a stocky guy. He's got real power and a good glove down there. That was Tejada. Franco's got a lot of Miguel Tejada in him. Gene Segura. Good glove at third. Good power at the plate. Segura singled in the third. Lines it right to Hernandez at second.
This tells you the kind of ball game it's been tonight. That was the Diamondbacks' second at bat with the runner in scoring position.
And he hit it right to somebody. A big hang with him for Segura. 2 outs now for Michael Bourne, who walked and was thrown out stealing his last time up. He's 0 for 2.
Partner, we're going to backtrack just a little bit to the beginning of the top of the second inning. Freddie Galvis with a little line drive into shallow center. Our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play of the game. Michael Bourne with another diving catch in center field.
He's been a terrific addition. Walks for the second time tonight. So the D-backs with 2 outs have 2 on for Goldie, who has 2 singles.
Well, pretty good chance, partner, that I beat the streak ended at 0. I had Goldie and Michael Bourne tonight. Michael Bourne has walked twice, but unfortunately that doesn't count.
Yeah, it was tough to see DJ LeMahieu walk twice yesterday and then have to leave the ball game for our man Terry.
Game, man.
Strike 1 to Goldie. Struck out his last time up, singled in the first and the third. So he is now hit safely in 6 straight games and 19 of his last 20. Oh, 0-2.
Goldie's been red hot with runners in scoring position lately. Since May 17th, hitting .455 with runners in scoring position.
Drove in 4 runs yesterday at Coors Field. Pitcher spot is up next. Peter O'Brien in the on-deck circle. Ricky Weeks Jr. behind him. All right. He started 0-2. Now it's 1-2, and as we know, when you go from 0-2 to 3-2 in the count, that is known as pulling a Goldie. I think right now he's 5th in the league in Goldies, according to our last check. Reaches out and hits a roller to second. And this is there, and that's the inning. We go to the 9th. Diamondbacks down 8-zip.
I'm here alongside Brandon Webb as we get set for Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink, our post-game show. And Brandon, the wheels came off for the D-backs in the 6th in this one, but it's surprising considering the way that Robbie Ray started this game, isn't it?
Yeah, he looked exceptionally well after the first 2 batters. He carried himself all the way into the 6th innings, pretty much unscathed, executing pitches, very quick innings, but like you said, the wheels fell off for him there in the 6th and the 7th.
Appeared to have a blister or some issue, so we'll check on that. Of course, we'll have Chip Hale's post-game press conference. It's all coming your way, guys, right after the game.
Jordy and I aren't speaking, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that have something to do with Game of Thrones?
Well, no, I can't talk enough about that. No, she beat me in fantasy baseball this week. Yeah. It was close, but tip of the cap. Well, all you can do.
Jody has inside sources.
She does. I got beat, plain and simple.
Jody knows the guy.
Cameron Rupp. I got desperate near the end of the week, started getting new pitchers, and they all were terrible. Peter O'Brien takes over at first base for Goldie. So he will bat 3rd in Goldie's spot.
Which is unfortunate. Peter won't get an at-bat unless the Diamondbacks hit around. But he will get an inning of defense down there at first base. Good experience for him.
One and 2. Rupp has an RBI single and a base on balls. He's 1 for 3. Big guy out of the University of Texas. Phillies got him with a 3rd round pick in the 2010 draft.
Hey, Cameron Rupp is close to a modern day version of Greg Luzinski, the Bull, as you will see.
It's a good call. Just inside. Full count, 3 and 2. Yeah, he's got a lot of the Bull in him. Big burly right hand hitter.
Stocky legs, barrel chest.
I wonder if he can cook barbecue.
I don't know.
He's from Texas, probably.
Probably. I think you have to cook barbecue in Texas.
It's a rule. Olmenter strikes him out. 2nd strikeout for Josh. 1 down in the 9th.
Boy, it came right in his kitchen there, making barbecue.
Yeah.
He took the top hand off the bat, trying to get it through there a little bit quicker, but comes up empty.
Freddie Galvis. Pitcher spot is due up next. Jimmy Paredes is in the on-deck circle for the Phils. Phillies began the ball game today 32-45 on the year, 12.5 games behind the Nationals in the National League East. Washington beat the Mets at Nats Park tonight 11-4.
Well, Chris Herman can sympathize. Wellington got this deep in the ball game without taking a shot to the mask.
It's amazing how often that happens, and amazing how often they just sort of brush it off. Chris has been taking a beating all year. One pitch to Galvis. Boy, that front, starts out so open, Bob, Freddie Galvis, and then that front foot taps and comes, it swings all the way over in the box so that it's parallel to the back foot. Watch where it starts and then watch where it finishes by the time he receives the baseball. It swings way over to the other side of the box. Right there.
It's a little bit similar to Odubel Herrera. I mean, he's not on his instep of that right foot, but Herrera has a big leg kick. Galvis just has a little toe tap, but serves the same purpose to get him in a good hitting position.
That's in the seats. Let's take a look.
A toe tap right there.
The foot starts on one line to the batter's box and ends up on the other. All the way across.
Yeah, guys that do that and have that much movement, hitting coaches will say they jam themselves sometimes because they are diving in toward the plate, and anything from the middle of the plate in occasionally can be hard to handle. You end up jamming yourself.
Peter O'Brien comes in, backs up. Colemenser covers, 2 down. Good chance for Pete right there.
Pinch hitting for Hector Neris.
So here's Paredes.
Number 41, Jimmy Paredes.
220 and 2 home runs in the big leagues this year. It's been 20 games since he was picked up by the Phillies. He's hitting .205 as a Philly with 1 homer. Was waived by the Orioles in the middle of last month. Blue Jays picked him up. He was with Toronto for only 7 games, and the Phillies got him for some cash on June the 1st. It to center, and it's a base hit for Paredes, a 2-out single.
Not like he jammed. No, he got it out off the end of the bat, actually. Change up, fading away from Paredes. Just gets enough of it to dunk it out there in shallow center field. Michael Bourne had an idea about coming in and trying to make a diving catch, but instead plays it on a hop.
15th hit tonight for the Phillies. They've out hit the D-backs 15-6. Cesar Hernandez has 2 of those hits. He's knocked in 2 runs. He scored a run. Going to get down for a base hit. Ricky Weeks Jr. cuts it off. Paredes heads in for third. A pair of 2-out singles for the Phillies against Josh Colemenser. Three hits tonight for Cesar Hernandez.
Well, these lefties in the Philly lineup have used the opposite field really well in the ball game tonight. Odubel Herrera, as I mentioned, 3 hits that direction. Now Hernandez slashing one down into the corner, and another lefty, Cody Ashe, now taking it at bat.
So Paredes at third, Hernandez at first, and 2 down for Ashe. Center field. Bourne in front of the track has it. And that ends the inning. Colemenser strands 2. Bottom 9 coming up. Diamondbacks down 8-0. Gig Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox. A rough night for the D-backs. They've been out hit 16-6 and trail at 8-zip as we start the bottom of the 9th inning. Phil Gosselin will lead it off against the new pitcher for the Phillies, the right-hander Severino Gonzalez, as the pitcher spot leads off the Diamondback 9th. Numbers on Gonzalez, a 3.5 ERA, his 7th appearance of the year. Nice hit for Gosselin. Under the glove of a diving Tommy Joseph.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game. Hey, that match game is a huge hit here at Chase Field.
It sure is. People love it. You get in that game, you're going to get a lot of help.
Oh yeah. And you better win, because you will get booed.
You take it seriously. Ricky Weeks Jr. 0 for 3. He'll start in left field tonight. They're in the 9th now in San Francisco. Giants getting beaten up by the A's 8-2. Jeff Samardzija got knocked around. Troy Tulowitzki back at Coors Field. Rockies beat the Blue Jays 9-5. Dodgers 5-4 winners in Pittsburgh. Cleveland Indians won in Atlanta 8-3. Cleveland has now won 10 in a row. They got a 5-game lead over the Royals in the AL Central. Cleveland's 15 games over 500. Chris Bryant 3 home runs for the Cubs. They won 11-8 at Cincinnati at Good American Ballpark.
Three home runs and 2 doubles.
Stop.
Yeah.
It's like land of the Giants, him hitting in that ballpark.
Oh, it's not fair.
It's a lovely ballpark. It's just small. It's a great hitters park, Cincinnati. We go there 3rd week of July for 3 games. That's a long road trip the end of next month. Cincinnati for 3, Milwaukee for 4, Dodgers for 3.
4 days in Milwaukee. That's a lot of brats.
Can't have too many. Weeks Jr. strikes out. 1 down in the 9th. Well, that's where you were telling me the other day that the ballpark actually ran out of beer.
Yeah. Back in 2001 when we were sitting there waiting for the Giants-Dodger game to end. And boys were thirsty.
It's like a Smokey and the Bandit sequel. 0-1 on Wellington Castillo, who's 0 for 3.
You know, the great thing about that team in 01, all the celebrations that we had leading right up to Game 7 of the World Series, it was like, well, you know, okay, we won the division series. Big deal. That's not what we're here for. Okay, we won the NLCS. That was fun, but that's not what we're here for. I mean, they enjoyed the celebration, don't get me wrong, but it was like they knew there was something bigger out there.
Well, that's probably one of the great benefits of having such a veteran ball club, right?
Absolutely.
Those guys know the score. Castillo lays off, and it's 1-2. Same 2 teams tomorrow night. Zach Greinke on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Jared Eichhoff for Philadelphia. Phillies are back Wednesday afternoon with Archie Bradley on the mound against Zach Eflin. Don't forget, fans, Wednesday you can get matinee pricing on D-backs tickets at dbacks.com. Spend Wednesday afternoon with us in the ballpark. Stay cool. Castillo strikes out. Yasmani Tomas. Single in the second. He's 1 for 3. Well, if this score holds, it'll be the 4th time this year the Diamondbacks have been shut out, the 2nd time here at home. And the 9th time that Phillies pitching has held an opponent scoreless. And what's most disturbing is the D-backs record at Chase Field will drop to 13-26.
It's just hard to figure.
0-2 on Tomas. Well, you had a 10-game road trip, won 7. Everybody felt good. You'd have to lose some along the way. 9-game homestand. No reason you can't win a whole bunch here either.
A lot of people argue about momentum in the game of baseball. Usually it means tomorrow's starting pitcher, so you have to believe you like our momentum going into tomorrow's ball game. But coming off that really good road trip, to stumble like this on the first game home certainly is discouraging.
Well, it'll be their 3rd consecutive loss. D-backs will drop to 36-43 on the year. They'll stay 13.5 games behind the Giants in the NL West. And Tomas strikes out. Gonzalez strikes out 3 after the Goslin single, and it's an 8-0 Phillies win. Put it away and move on.
Absolutely. Shower this one off and come back tomorrow and start over again.
We'll break it down. Brandon Webb standing by with Jody Jackson. Jody.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yes, plenty to look at in this one. Obviously, a lopsided loss here for the D-backs.